You know, live. Shabbat shalom, y'all. Shabbat shalom to the worldwide family. Y'all, we greatly apologize for the delay. We're a bit behind, y'all, but y'all know how we do. We're going to get this going, y'all. We face toward Holy Jerusalem as it's recorded in Scripture. Men ought to uncover their head when praying or prophesying. Women ought to cover their head when praying or prophesying within the assembly. Y'all, 1 Timothy 2, we want the Most High to lift us up today as we feast on His word, which His word is not grievous. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. All right, family. We're going to get this opening prayer. And it's with the Most High's permission. And it's in the name of His only begotten and beloved Son, our Lord and Savior, and our Redeemer, Yahushua HaMashiach. And we know Him as Jesus the Christ, y'all. Long live the King. Long live the King. Reading in the book of Psalms, in the 43rd chapter, it reads, Judge me, O Yah, and plead my cause against an ungodly nation. O deliver me from the deceitful and unjust man. For thou art the Elohim of my strength.
Yes, sir.
Why dost thou cast me off? Why go I mourning because of the oppression of the enemy?
Yes, sir.
O send out thy light and thy truth. Let them lead me. Let them bring me unto thy holy hill and to thy tabernacle. Then will I go unto the altar of Yah, unto Elohim my exceeding joy. Yea, upon the harp will I praise thee, O Yah, my power. Why art thou cast down, O my soul? And why art thou disquieted within me? Hope in Yah, for I shall yet praise Him, who is the health of my countenance and my Elohim. Hallelujah! Say it!
You had this, right?
Yes, sir. Okay, all right.
Shabbat shalom, family, once again. Once again, y'all, we want to thank the worldwide audience and all of our family who continue to support us, y'all. Without y'all, we could not do it. We want to send shouts out to all you supporters, to our sick and shut in, to our family members near and far. Y'all, we got the holy day of Pentecost coming up, 7 Sabbaths and 1 day after the Passover. That's going to put us on the Gregorian calendar of Sunday, June 5th. St. Louis, y'all, we'll get on the conference call. Y'all know how we do it around here. But just for our family out of town, y'all get yourselves prepared because the Feast of Pentecost, Sunday, June 5th, you may see it as Saturday, June the 4th, but that just means Saturday sundown starts a new day. So that technically would be what? Sundown, if we leave out of here and it's sundown, it's technically Sunday. So we have to understand that, y'all. So that's why you may see it the 4th, but you're technically going to have to keep it in the daylight hours. You know, however you may keep the Feast of Pentecost. But it's coming up, y'all. We're going to stay on our doctor's appointment. So we've been mentioning it since the Passover. So we are technically 2 weeks out, 2.5 weeks out. So just wanted to cover that. Today's lesson, covering because of the angels. See, we can talk about the assembly, head covers, but there's a situation in there about the angels that we must address. They keep throwing people off and they keep asking why the angels and what does that have to do with her cover, and to put the two together. But before we do that, Elisha, you had some things you wanted to touch on?
Yeah, I just wanted to clear up a question the brother had last Sabbath concerning Zechariah chapter 5.
Yes, sir.
Y'all know how we do. If someone has a question that we can't get to in that particular hour or day, if we say we're going to get back to you, that's what we're going to do. We're going to get back to you. That's our job. That's our commitment.
Yeah.
as teachers in this word is that we must do our homework as well as what we ask you to do. So with that, I just want to give that brother, I don't know if the brother is present in the chat or not.
I don't see him yet.
But he can always refer back to this class and get his breakdown if he's not present.
I see him. Alonta Keys. That's the person.
Alonta Keys. Okay, well, brother, we're going to break that down for you. You asked the question last Shabbat, and so we got your answer for you today. All right. Like I said last week, the book of Zechariah is dealing with prophetic visions that were given to Zechariah by the angels and by the Most High himself. These visions are pertaining to the captivity of Babylon, the cleansing of the land, the purging of Israel, and the return back to the Holy Land, and then the setup of the Feast of Tabernacles. So he asked about, now if you go through the various chapters in Zechariah, there's an explanation given, as is with most visions, prophetic visions given unto a prophet or a servant of the Most High. There's usually a breakdown thereafter the vision. However, in chapter 5, there's no breakdown as it is in the previous chapters. So we're going to break that down. So let's begin in Zechariah chapter 5, verse 1. With all our getting, let us get some understanding. That the body may be edified, and we give all glory, praise, and honor to Elohim.
Zechariah chapter 5, verse 1. Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes, and looked, and behold, a flying robe. And he said unto me, What seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying robe. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits.
Okay, so first and foremost, the first thing Zechariah is seeing is his flying robe. Then there's an estimated measure of what this flying robe is. Well, as we go down, we'll see that this flying robe contains words on both sides. This flying robe represents the law, the commandments, statutes, and judgments which were given unto Moses, the Mosaic law. However, this law was also established with Adam. But this is this flying robe is the same vision in which Jeremiah was given and Ezekiel. If we turn to, let's go to Jeremiah chapter 36 and hit 1 through 8, and then we hit this Ezekiel chapter 3, 1 through 7, and we see the same flying robe. Then we'll hit this Deuteronomy 17 and see this robe as well. Jeremiah 36.
We holding that up?
So Jeremiah 36 and 1 through 8.
Everybody there? See you, Mike.
You know what? Before we do that, hold that. We're coming right back to it. Just read that Zechariah 5 look down to 3, so we can get a full gist of why we refer to these other scriptures.
That's where I'm at. This is in verse 3. Zechariah chapter 5, verse 3. Then said he unto me, This is the course that goeth the person. This is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off, as on this side according to it. And everyone that sweareth shall be cut off, as on that side according to it.
Okay, now let's go to Jeremiah 36, 1 through 8. Then at Ezekiel 3, 1 through 7. And we'll see that this flying roll is a representation of the law. And he says, this is the curse that go forth over the whole earth.
Yeah.
On one side, people should be condemned because of the stealing. On the other side, people should be condemned because of the curse of the blasphemy, or to take in the name of the Most High thing. Okay? So we'll see that these curses pertain to the law.
That's right.
These curses pertain to the law. Let's see if they do Jeremiah.
Jeremiah chapter 36, verse 1. And it came to pass in the 4th year of Joachim, the son of Josiah, king of Judea, that this word came unto Jeremiah from the Most High, saying, take thee a roll of a book, and write therein all the words that I have spoken unto thee against Israel and against Judea, and against all the nations, from the day I spake unto thee, from the days of Josiah, even unto this day.
So this roll that he was bringing forth, Jeremiah, he taking this roll, right into this roll, all the words that I command thee. He said, not just to Judah and Jerusalem, but to all the nations. So this curse was going to go forth, like in Zechariah, over the whole earth.
That's right.
Because the whole earth is to abide by these commandments.
That's right.
However, Judah and Jerusalem is the light bearers to teach the nations how to live God. So this same curse applies to everyone on the earth. How else could others be condemned to everlasting damnation had they not had the law, which condemns them? Right? Read on.
Verse 3. It may be that the house of Judah will hear all the evil which I propose to do unto them, that they may return every man from his evil way, that I may forgive their iniquities and their sins. Then Jeremiah called Baruch, the son of Neriah, and Baruch wrote from the mouth of Jeremiah all the words of the Most High, which he had spoken unto him upon the roll of a book. And Jeremiah commanded Baruch, saying, I am shut up. I cannot go into the house of the Most High. Therefore, go thou and read in the roll which thou hast written from thy mouth the words of the Most High in the ears of the people in the Most High's house upon the fasting day. And also thou shalt read them in the ears of all Jews that come out from their city. It may be they will present their supplication before me, before the Most High, and will return every one from his evil way.
From his what?
From his evil way. For great is the anger and the fury that the Most High has pronounced against this people. And Baruch, the son of Neriah, did according to all that Jeremiah the prophet commanded him, reading in the book of the words of the Most High in the Most High's house.
Okay, and we'll hold on that because I want Daniel to have enough time to.
No, that's right. You gotta get
But that Ezekiel chapter 3 is basically going to read the same. He set Israel to be watching over Israel as well as the nation, and we're supposed to present this robe, this flying robe, which is the commandment, law, statutes, and judgments to the nations to abide in. If we turn to Deuteronomy chapter 32, let's go to Deuteronomy 32 and we'll see. And then you know as well, also that 32, y'all. Exodus 32 and 15. 15 and 16. But you also have put in there Exodus chapter 20, you have the 10 Commandments. Deuteronomy 17, 9 through 13. But after this, I want to hit that 1 Kings chapter 6 and 3, and we'll see that these dimensions that's mentioned in Zechariah chapter 5, verse 2, where he says the length of this robe is also the exact measurements of Solomon's porch. So this is representing the law and the tabernacle, the testimony. Okay? So that's what this flying roll is representing. Okay? A priestly order, the order of Melchizedek.
That's right.
Exodus chapter 32 and verse 15 and 16. Because we see in Zechariah that this flying roll had a curse or writings on both sides of this flying roll, and there were curses upon it. Because it said people that did one thing will be cursed on one side of that roll, and people that did another will be cursed on the opposite side of that roll. Right? Well, if we look at the 10 Commandments, 5 of those laws are pertaining to sins against the Most High. The other 5 are sins against your neighbor.
Right.
However, in the vision of Zechariah, we have a flip side to that. So what it's telling us is today that the sins against our neighbors have exceeded and increased above the sins against the Father, which are also sins against the Father. However, these sins against your neighbor has been increased. And that's why the King of Peace and Love shall come and inherit the earth again and wipe out all this violence and non-hospitality towards each other. Exodus 32, 15 and 16.
Exodus chapter 32, verse 16. And Moses turned and went down from the mountain, and the 2 tablets of the testimony were in his hand. The tablets were written on both their sides. On the one side and on the other were they written. Verse 16. And the tablets were the work of God, and the writing was the writing of God, graven upon the table.
Okay, so we see that this flying roll is what this represents. The law, statutes, and judgments which were handed down. Okay? We'll go back to, let's hit that 1 Kings chapter 6 and 3. And we'll see in that Zechariah, these are the same measurements as Solomon's porch. First Kings chapter 6, verse 3. Start at 2. Read to 3. And then we'll go back to Zechariah, finish out this vision.
All right, 1 Kings chapter 6, verse 1. And it came to pass in the 480th year after the children of Israel were come out of the land of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel, in the month Zeth, which is the 2nd month, that he began to build the house of the Lord. And the house of which King Solomon built for the Lord, the length thereof was 80 cubits, and the breadth thereof 20 cubits, and the height thereof 30 cubits. And the portion before the temple of the house, 20 cubits was the length thereof, according to the breadth of the house, and 10 cubits was the breadth thereof before the house.
Okay, that's all I wanted. But we'll go back. Let's go back to the Zechariah chapter 5. And we'll see those same things. Hit that verse 2 again real quick.
Zechariah chapter 5, verse 2. Zechariah chapter 5, verse 2. And he said unto me, what seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying robe. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits.
Same measurements, right? Same exact measurements. Okay, read on.
Then said he unto me, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off as on this side according to it. And everyone that sweareth shall be cut off as on that side according to it. I will bring it forth, says the Most High of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name, and it shall remain in the midst of his house, and shall consume it with the timber thereof, and the stones thereof.
So he's saying that those who commit these sins, nothing will be able to save you or hide you from the punishment that's going to overtake you.
That's right.
Whether you be hidden in a house of timber or hidden in a house of stone, they won't be able to be your protection. For the Most High says in Amos that even if you try to flee to Egypt and you dig yourself in a ditch, he will send and gather you from that ditch and destroy you. There's no hiding place on the face of this earth. Nowhere you can hide from the destruction and the wrath of the Most High Elohim. When he coming for you, he coming for you. No man can retain the spirit. Read on.
Verse 5. Then the angel that talked with me went forth and said unto me, lift up now thine eyes and see what is this that goeth forth. And I said, what is it? And he said, this is an ephod that goeth forth. He said, moreover, this is their resemblance through all the earth.
So now we have a vision of an ephod. What is an ephod? We must identify what's an ephod so we can understand the concept of the vision. The ephod is like, in today's measure, in ancient times, it was like a basket or a vase to measure dry goods. Okay? So today, ephod will measure out to and equal about 22 liters in today's bowls or containers. Okay? So in ancient times, this was like a basket where they would weigh out grain, flour, and millet, and things of that nature. Okay? So what he's seeing now is an ephod, a basket. All right? He's got this here. About your own papa. All right? And so he says, moreover, he's getting ready to show us the resemblance thereof. Come on, read on.
Verse 7. And behold, there was lifted up a talent of lead, and this is a woman that sitteth in the midst of the ephod.
So he says there's a woman sitting in the midst of this basket being lifted up. Okay, this is the vision he's seeing. And there's a talent of lead that's going to be placed over. Now, lead is very heavy. Very heavy. So this is going to be used as a lid for this ephod. Right, or this basket, or this vase, all right? But he's seeing a vision of this woman sitting in the midst of this basket. Read on.
Verse 8. And he said, this is wickedness.
This is what?
Wickedness.
Wickedness. So he's saying this whole image, this image of this woman sitting in the midst of this basket, or this ephod, with this lead talent, this talent of lead upon her head, or as a covering, is wickedness. It's a vision of wickedness. Now, if we look at Proverbs chapter 7, it breaks down the wicked woman. But let's turn to Revelation 17.
in verse 1. And there came one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the great judgment, the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls.
Ain't this the same kind of vision that the wicked woman in Proverbs 7 is given unto those that pass by her house?
Right.
Come in unto me. For my husband is gone on a long journey.
Right.
Come check out my bedroom.
Uh-oh.
Check out how it's decked out.
Oh, it's decked out.
Oh, you love materialistic value. You love the riches of the earth.
Yeah.
You love the riches of lust. Come in unto me.
Yeah,
This is that wicked woman. This is the wickedness that Zechariah is seeing in Zechariah 5. This whore that sits in the middle of that basket of the ephod. Read on.
Having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.
The mother of all religions. All religions stem from this whore. The Roman Church. Catholicism. That's why a representative go out and kiss the Pope's ring when he go on his world tour. Because he's the mother of all religions. The great whore. This is the wickedness in the middle of that ephod. Read on.
Verse 6. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushua. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration.
So, just like the prophecy says, we're going to go back to Zechariah so we can finish this out. Just like the prophecy says, he should work out the saints. There's a price to pay for this walk, y'all.
Yes.
Prep yourself, prep your hearts. There's a price to pay for this walk. Back in Zechariah chapter 5.
Zechariah chapter 5, verse 9.
And you also can refer to that 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. 6 through 8. Dealing with the same matter, the revealing of the Antichrist. Read on, bro.
Zechariah chapter 5, verse 9. Then lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, there came out 2 women, and the wind was in their wings, for they had wings like the wings of a stork. And they lifted up the ephod between the earth and the heaven.
So, we see another vision of 2 women with wings of a stork. Now, the stork is considered an unclean beast, right? However, this image is doing the work of the Elohim as a messenger. So, who are we to say who and who not the Most High will use to do his work? Or these angels? We don't know. This is a vision given to Zechariah. Are they images of wickedness, demons, mermaids, or whatever? Maybe, but they're doing the work of the Elohim. They're messengers. See, that's what we have to understand. You can't call them wicked if they're doing the work, the servitude of the Most High. He don't send out wickedness.
No.
What about the beasts that fly the chariots of the Most High.
That's right.
That's why he says in Isaiah 40, I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy.
That's right.
You don't have no say-so over how he chooses.
That's right.
What he do. You're a creation. Stay in your place.
In your lane.
You need to worry about your own self.
Read on, bro. Finish this out.
Verse 10. Then said I to the angel that talked with me, whether do these bury the ephod? And he said unto me, to build it an house in the land of Shinar, and it shall be established and set there upon her own base.
Now you see in Genesis chapter 10, Genesis chapter 11, this is Babel. This is the first nation of rebellion against the Elohim. This was set up by Nimrod. So he's saying he's going to take this whore back to her beginning. Build her a house and set her up on her own base. So what this vision is how the Elohim is going to take away these sins from Israel and deliver it back to its original beginning. Yes. It's going back to its beginning. He's going to cast out the sin out of Israel. Israel is going back home, but you can't take these sins back with us. So those who are on this side of sinning or that side of sinning, there's no hiding place that's going to protect you from the wrath that's coming from the Most High. It's guaranteed. It shall happen. So this is the vision, my brother. This is the vision. If you're present in the chat, this is the vision of Zechariah chapter 5. Understood? You see, Shinar is an ancient name for Babylon, lower part of Mesopotamia.
Not only that, but it lets you also know that the law, when Noah got off the ark, he gave it to the same law to all three of his sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. He gave them to all his sons. And Nimrod, being the son of Ham, had the law. But he chose to be a God himself. And you see everybody is linking themselves back to that. They want to be their own God. You know? They don't want to serve the Lord anymore. And every day you look in the mirror and you see that age coming on. And you can't reverse it. No. But you want to be God. No, you won't be the Ancient of Days.
It says in Psalms 82, you should be as God, but always means contrary. Don't but mean contrary to what you think.
Yeah.
Contrary to what you believe, you're going to die as a man. You're going to die like a man. So contrary to all the false doctrines you got out there, those doctrines of Kemet, the doctrine of the gods of the gays, yeah. The Most High said you're going to die like a man. And you should be judged. Yep. Now look.
Take your title if you want to. Do with it what you make.
No.
You still gonna go them way.
Well, that's like it. No, all your title belts gonna be like Martin when he was Road Dogg, the CCW champion. Don't mean nothing. It ain't professional. It's like the police and firemen fighting contest. They ain't going no further than that.
No, they can't go 3
Cause you be like, boy, I hope y'all don't fight crime like y'all fighting in the ring.
I'm talking about we in the trouble.
That means that we have the
Was there any questions too much?
No, not support.
we have the ability to make choices kind of like God, but we're still human.
Right, because we're in the image of them. So we have the instructions, but the instructions say, don't forget who. It's like your parents made you. Y'all birth certificate ain't gonna never show the same date and year that you were born. They're going to always be your parents. You'll never get to the point that where you become their parents. No, the scripture don't tell you that. Scripture says they're still your parents, but if they get old, you have to help your elderly parents out. If his mind slip a little bit, and that's in Sirach 7 chapter, you say you look out for your parents. You know, like, no, Daddy, Junior been dead 30 years now. Oh, is he? I swore I could have seen him in the backyard killing. No, that wasn't Junior. That was Junior. That's his third son. By his fourth wife. That's who you saw back there. He looked like it, but that wasn't him. So, y'all, we can never switch roles. There's always order. And like you had more to that?
No.
So, and that's why we're coming to today, covering because of the angels. See, the angels will tell you, and it all depends on what angels we're talking about, that will lead men astray. Because y'all, we're into this last day that where men are tapping into a lot of this sorcery. And they're calling themselves gods now. So what they're doing is saying, we're equal to you, God. You know, and the ancestors they ain't mentioned the Father yet. You're talking about taking instructions from somebody that's dead. And you're saying it and saying, I'm using the very book to tell you the dead knows nothing, didn't it? Ain't no reward in the grave, ain't none of that.
All that love, hate, aspiration.
Under this sun. If you don't get it before you leave here, you ain't getting no second go round. And a lot of things are out there, y'all. You're going to start to see a lot of these videos of people saying they died and went to heaven and hell. But there's a consistency with the Bible in that. Some of the things that they see may be true, but there's rules when men go to those levels of heaven. And what we're talking about is consistency with the Bible. Their tongue had to be purged first. And not only that, but the Most High is speaking with them. When you see these videos, a lot of them may be Satan really attacking in their dream. You're traveling and you're looking, but you cannot go to these places and say, I seen this individual in hell. Then that means you saw Judgment Day already, because the individual that's in that part of hell is going straight to the lake of fire. Right, so when you're talking about that third level on the other side of the gulf, those are fixed for hell. Now, you still got the grave that's going to give up its dead after the 1,000-year millennium. Not talking about them. That's a second group of individuals. That's called the second resurrection. But you can't say in your dream, I saw Hitler. Tupac is in hell. One video, I'll let that say, the them demons had Michael Jackson dancing. They making him put on a concert in hell. Man, they always got him say he's moonwalking through flames and everything. And so we have to be careful when we read that, because they may say something that they saw. But the consistency is what they always see. They say, I saw my bad side. Because if you really went to the throne of God, he's going to give you some instructions. You're not going to come back here and just say what I saw. You ain't got no instructions for yourself or for the nation or for the second coming of Christ. If it's personal like that, you technically didn't see what you thought you said, or if you were spoken to. If you rose to them levels, then you're spoken to like Enoch was, like Elijah was, like Isaiah was. All of those men who ascended to those levels. And as far as you get it, is to look up and see the throne of the Most High. You will never go up there. That's what John 3 says. No man has ascended to heaven but he who came down. There's no one ascended to the seventh level. Satan wasn't even on the seventh level, on the level of the Most High. He looked up and said, I want to go up there. So he's already in heaven, because that's where he's cast down from, right? So where does he want to go up further to then? So he wanted to go up where Christ was. No. You stay where you at. You run these planets. You don't run up here. You can't come up here. That's your job. You're like, well, I don't like my job no more. I want your job. So y'all, we're going to get right into the lesson, y'all. We're going to get caught up. And it's called covering because of the angels, y'all. So A lot of that is left out in head coverings. You got a lot of group out here, non-messianic maniacs, messianics who try to dictate the word of the Most High to women and tell you got to be covered like this, you got to do all this. But nobody is explaining what the angel part and why that's involved with 1 Corinthians 11. Go ahead, brother. What's the question? Go ahead, y'all.
You got two last one.
Jacob actually just answered it.
Right, yeah. You got it too, Bob? I can go ahead. He never is, you know. No chasing.
Leslie Burr asked, can someone explain to me ancestor altars? My neighbor has one in her house. Is it okay to do that?
No. Ancestor altar?
Yes.
No.
Jacob answered,
No.
Hell no. Yeah, that's it.
no ancestor know nothing about what is talking, what is taking place on the earth.
That's right.
The dead know nothing of this earth.
And look, Matthew 16 chapter, when the transfiguring, Most High transfigured in front of Peter, Paul, and James, they asked the same thing. Can we set up pillars for Moses and Elijah and one for you? Most High told them, no, ain't no pillar setting up for these guys right here. You can't build no altar to them. It ain't never happened an altar built to anybody within your house because it's going to create worship of that individual. Right. When you build an altar to them. Now, grave markers is one thing. When Rebecca died on the way to Jerusalem, they buried her on the way right there at Bethlehem, Ephraim. And they said her grave marker is still there to this day. So grave markers, say David grave markers is there today, but it don't never tell us to go to them graves and worship or bring them in your home. You got to be extra careful with even having somebody cremated and got their remains in an urn in your home. You got to get rid of that. You need to bury that now, because if you don't, you're going to bring them into every conversation. Watch your mouth now. You see Daddy up there on the mountain. He's listening. Right. No, Daddy ain't listening. If Ashes is listening like that.
Yeah, he said from that corner.
Right. So we have to be careful that when you cremate, the urn is one thing, but the ashes must go back to the earth like it says. Go ahead, say it.
My son was cremated 8 years ago, so I need to get rid of his ashes.
You need to get rid of those. You need to send those ashes back to the earth. I'm not talking about the urn. The urn could be like a grave marker, but as long as that body part is in there, there's still a connection to the dead, and you may start to talk to it, or you may start to do some things, but the instructions in the Bible, the dust go back to where? Back to the dust. It has to go back to the dust. You'll see a lot of people sprinkle the little one over the sea because the sea will give up its dead, and they'll, sprinkle it over the earth. Ain't nothing wrong with that because you're just giving it back. That part, that's not the soul. That's not its spirit. That's just its body. You have to send it back to where it was made to because those are instructions. Because look, you can't pray. That's why it's a lot of trouble, y'all, around these church houses. Hold it down, baby girl. There's a lot of trouble in these church houses. You have to understand that when people are saying our church is holy, you had a funeral in there too. See, because you're bringing a dead body into where you're saying it's holy. That's why I say I don't dwell in temples made with men's hands. So we have to be careful what you say about your location. We would never say, this place is the holiest and we had a funeral down. You brought a dead body into a sanctuary. That could never happen even in the high priest. If somebody died, they couldn't go in and perform the duties of the priest. You got to wait a certain period of time before you go back into the holies of holies. That's why they couldn't sweat. They were the only one that wore those linen breeches, not the rest of Israel, because they couldn't sweat. If you know you can't sweat, you sure can't go up in the holies of holies and just been to a funeral.
What?
So y'all, there's certain laws that we must keep in mind. Hold on, I'll get you two back. Let me get you Jeremiah.
I got a question, Brother Daniel. I was about 11 years old, and they was building a church. And the cornerstone, that little walker they put on there, they did some writing, they put, I don't know what they put in, because you know, I'm 11 and I don't really know what's going on. What do they mean?
What did they do?
They was building a church.
Uh-huh.
And when the foundation was coming up, it's a little square about, you know, and they put things in it. Then they built the church.
Time capsule.
Well, a lot of times it's called the cornerstone. It's called the cornerstone of a house. Usually it only supposed to show you when this house was built. Every house has a cornerstone. Christ is the cornerstone from the foundation of the world. So before earth was even created, he had a cornerstone. But what happens is, a lot of them, like saying, like time capsules, what they put in their letters,
I don't know.
something build and told maybe it'll reveal something. But it could be some Freemasonry stuff or something.
That's what I
usually you will see EST on the corner of most buildings. They're saying this is the cornerstone. This is the first block that was laid. That's the cornerstone. That supports the whole house. If that cornerstone removed, the house usually fall down.
A lot of these colleges, cornerstones actually got basic symbolism.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So y'all going to be extra careful. 2 hours left so we get rolling.
For his wife on the Sabbath.
Is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath? That's what we just asked. Is it lawful to do good? If your wife is hungry, even on the Passover, say the only thing you technically can buy on the Passover is necessities, food. The script says you cannot work that day. If you consider going to the store to get some work, then that's a problem because you look at work as 20 minutes, or however long it takes you to go to the store and back. We even had an individual to say, because they think you can't be in a relationship with your wife on the Sabbath. The script ain't never said that. Not one place in the Bible it told the priest that. The high priest, and we're going to get a little bit of that today, that they could, just them, because they need to be holy, because they have a work to do. You cannot go in that temple and say, wait a minute, I'm itching.
Yeah.
You can't put down the incense and start scratching wildly. Oh, once the scratching starts, it starts like athlete feet. You won't stop till you see blood. Maybe you be looking for some green alcohol. What you got, sis?
I have a overnight schedule that I work from sunset on Friday, Saturday till 8 o'clock on Saturday, taking care of a 93-year-old individual that can't stay by himself. Is that wrong? Because I took it because I counted it as doing good on the Sabbath, taking care of somebody that can't take care of themselves.
Well, like I say, what we want to do, we don't want to put provisions for the Sabbath. We keep it like it does. Is it good to do good on the Sabbath? So either you work, if you can get off that day, we tell everybody, pray that you may get off on the Sabbath. But if you got to go, you have to go. But this is what we need to understand. Give me a little bit of that Jasher 77. And we're going to move on because while we were in Egypt, this is what I want y'all to understand. We were in Egypt. So we got from Adam up to before Moses was commanded to bring us out. We was working 7 days a week. What I'm looking for is anywhere in the scriptures up to that point that say the Sabbath is violated, because Abraham kept all the laws according to Genesis 26:5, way before we went to Egypt. Way before we went to Egypt, he kept all the laws. So did he keep the Sabbath? Because the Messiah keep going back to Genesis 2. All of them keep going back to the Genesis 2. Keep it holy. Did the Father stop working on what would be considered day 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13? After that, did he just stop, or was he monitoring what's taking place on earth? Yes, he stopped building because the world is complete in 6 days, and the 7th day he rested from all of that work. But Monday, he ain't rebuilding nothing else. He's just watching over his creation and make sure it runs smooth. That's why the Sabbath is the same way. That's why there's words like servile, meaning how you make your money. But some of us, we're in our land of our captivity, and if you keep saying we're in Egypt, then Egypt, you may find yourself working on the Sabbath day like we did then. Let's read some, I want to get right quick. 77 Jazz.
Got a question after that 77.
Go ahead and get that question now.
Is creation lawful as long as the ashes are buried?
Look, y'all. Look, naturally, if you can bury it, but y'all, this economics. Funerals, the average funeral is $5,000 to $10,000.
Don't have to.
And look, when they go to add, they say ashes to ashes, don't they? Cremation, you don't want that to happen. But what about the people that's burned up in a car accident or catch on fire or a house burned up and they burned up in the fire? They cremated, ain't they? All you got now is a closed casket, don't you? You can't look at it. There's no body there, nothing to look at. Will you want to look at it like that? If it's burned up like that, y'all. Was the Messiah buried in dirt? Where was he buried at? So that's similar to a mausoleum. That you go out, like you'll see them out here, those brick buildings, they put them in there and they seal them in there. That's not in the earth, but it's technically in the earth because it's out of this realm, so to speak. Usually those tunnels went down in the earth, but you're technically not in dirt. And they'll say they buried him in a cave. Lazarus, wasn't no shovels going when he said, Lazarus, come forth, did it? Hold on, we got about 4 more feet of digging to do before he get out of there. Or did he come out bound in grave clothes? So he was in a mausoleum as well. And not only that, we never embalmed anybody. Embalming started in Egypt because we would bury you the same day. Your relatives found out in Cut 2 weeks later. You know Jimmy dead? You find out 2 weeks later. Because we didn't use embalming fluids. Right, we dress you, we put the fluids on you like Joseph or Martha. They dressed the Christ, they put all the stuff on. Even the woman wiping his hair with her feet, that anointing all got him prepared for his burial. And once that happened, you get buried the same day. You'll see it today. When somebody gets killed, they got them in a coffin that day. If you over here, you don't get to come to the funeral. You hear about the funeral. But there was days of mourning, 30 days, 70 days. But it couldn't go past 80 days of mourning because now you're crying too long. You're going to kill yourself. So yeah, under those circumstances, y'all, cremation is almost $1,000. It's either that or send them to the potter's field. That's what the government will do. That's what Judas Iscariot, when they gave back the money, they gave that money to the potter's field. So that they could pay for other people's graves like that. But you get no coffin, you get a cardboard coffin or some cheap wood like they do back in the cowboy days, and they throw your loved one in there and throw them in there. Like when COVID was hitting hard in certain places, they didn't have time to bury. You were buried in mass graves. They dug a hole wide as this room and they just started dumping bodies in there. And we got to get them buried and covered up quickly. No funeral. All you get to do is point to where he in there somewhere. He's in a mass grave. The same thing that this war going on in Ukraine. The battle for the Caucasus Mountains. They're burying them in mass graves. They're just throwing the body bags in there. Because they got to get buried. Or they'll start to cremate you. But y'all, we try to follow the laws as close as we can. But we do see the sea gonna give up its dead. So who's digging a grave in the sea? Okay, Tobias got some scuba gear like that. But no, y'all, so how does the sea give up its dead? Who buried the dead in the sea? They buried Bin Laden in the sea. So the sea will give up all his dead. You in a shipwreck, you drown, where your grave at? In the bottom of the sea. That's your grave. In the bottom of the sea. So y'all, we just want to be careful, y'all, that we tell people not to enforce it, because the law is not grievous. They dead. Let the dead bury the dead. So we have to understand that once that dust, it's going to go back where it needs to go. Technically, yes, put them in the earth. But if they drown, how you gonna find them out of the Mississippi and bury them? When your loved one's lost, they send out a patrol. You may not find the bones for 10 years. Bones discovered, DNA check, it belongs to this guy that died 25 years ago. They just pulled a car from a river, and it had 2 college students in there they've been looking for 25 years. The grave, that car was their coffin, and the water was the grave. Now they found them, but we're just talking about the ones they don't find. Never heard from them again. Don't know what happened to them. You look, but you can't find them. They gone. They through. So y'all, we have to bring all of those situations into account before we just attack you with the law and say that's the point blank. You don't do it this way. Is that it's done like that? And we're gonna hit a few things today to clear up these things too. You know, but I wanted to get to is it maybe 78? Well, I went right when Moses was 18 years old. Let me see. 77, okay. Get right back, maybe 77. Look for Moses at 18 years old. Okay, hold on. I'll get that, y'all, but I'm gonna find that real quick. Okay, hold on. Okay, I see 69 and 4. Hit that real quick, 69 and 4. And we'll see the work starting, but I want to get right to Moses 18, maybe 65 and 7. Y'all see, let me see 65 and 7. Let me get back there real
What's the
quick.
name of the book again?
Yeah.
Is that chapter 69?
Hold on. It says 69? Okay. It may be 69 and 9. But we'll come back to that, y'all. I'll get that. I'm just looking for Moses saw that. I tell y'all what, we'll come back to that. Any more questions before we get started? We got to get rolling. Let me get what I'm looking for is when Moses was 18 years old, he went to visit the children of Israel, and they was getting work. I may have it in Exodus. Exodus 7. Keep it over it. 1 second. Let me get it back at 23 because I may have Jasper right there. I make markings sometimes so I know where to look.
Question in the chat, she told Fontaine that someone asked him about what explains basically Amos chapter 2 and 1.
What we explaining?
Amos chapter 2 and 1.
Amos chapter 2 and 1, what it say?
Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Moab, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he burnt the bones of the king of Edom into lime.
What's before that? What's the subject matter?
That's verse 1 of chapter 2 of Amos.
Okay, read on down. He burned the bones of who?
He burned the bones of the king of Edom into lime. But I will send a fire upon Moab, and it shall devour the places of Kedron, and Moab shall die with tumult, with shouting, and with sound of the trumpet.
Well, you probably in the chapter before, probably the last 10 verses of the chapter before, I'll explain what the situation is.
Chapter 71.
Chapter 71 I want?
That 71 1.
That's what I want. Right there. Thank you, bro. Thank you, bro.
Amos chapter 9. That was talking about transgression. It picks up Amos.
Now, what I want him to say, Moses, he told him, look, you're working them to death. Hold on. Yeah, that's what I got. That's where it is. Right here. It's 69. 70, I'm sorry, 70. 70 and 41. Hand me that. 70 and 41 of this chapter. Y'all read that, please. Read down for me. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah. Jasper 70, 71 and 41. Who got it?
71 to 70.
70.
I was just saying, was y'all paying attention? Y'all some stupid today. Let's get it.
Dash is chapter 70, verse 47.
Yeah, 70.
41.
Yeah.
Alright, Dash is chapter 70, verse 41.
Yes, sir.
And the day arrived when Moses went to Goshen to see his brethren.
Right.
That he saw the children of Israel in their burdens.
Uh-huh.
Hard labor.
And what?
Hard labor.
Uh-huh.
And Moses was grieved on their account.
Right.
And Moses returned to Egypt and came to the house of Pharaoh and came before the king. And Moses bowed down before the king.
So this is Romans 13 chapter. When it says, subject yourself to those who are over you. He didn't bow down like he worshiped the old great king, live forever. It's a bowing. It's what you do to power. You respecting the power. For one, I'm going to him and ask him to do this because he's in charge of Egypt. Unless I'm going to bound him up and then deliver the children, that's two different things. But when you go you go to court and they say stand up, that's a form of honoring or submitting to the court process. Everybody stand up, the judge finna come in. If you just sitting there scowling, the judge say, okay, maximum whenever they get through saying what they're going to do, I'm going to give him, he's the judge. Let's read some more. What else to say?
Verse 43.
Yeah.
And Moses said unto Pharaoh, I pray thee, my Lord.
I pray thee, my who?
Lord.
See, once again, you have people say, see, Lord, me, master. Moses called him his Lord. No, what you're talking about is someone in authority over you.
Like, sir.
He wasn't calling him Lord like he's talking about the Messiah and everything, and different things of that nature.
Right.
It's just, he's the master over Egypt. Just like the slave was master. And we said to him, my master allowed me to go on the road today. Where the papers at? I know you was ain't a runaway. You say my master allowed me to do this. Go ahead, read some more.
Verse 43 again.
Yeah.
And Moses said unto Pharaoh, I pray thee, my Lord, I have come to seek a small request from thee. Turn not away my face empty. And Pharaoh said unto him, speak. And Moses said unto Pharaoh, let there be given unto thy servants, the children of Israel who are in Goshen, one day to rest therein from their labor.
So if he's asking for 1 day, how many days they working?
6.
Huh?
6.
Who said 6?
Oh, what is
Well, look. Look, you working 7 days a week in Egypt. And you working for 0 cents an hour. Read some more.
Verse 45.
Yeah.
And the king answered Moses and said, behold, I have lifted up thy face in this thing to grant thy request. And Pharaoh ordered a proclamation to be issued throughout Egypt and Goshen, saying,
So he put out the law, a proclamation, y'all. We see proclamations all the time given out to people. People say, I'm getting a proclamation. Proclamations, they name a street after you. Proclamations is this day for this day. It ain't a national holiday, but it's a proclamation. You don't understand what I'm saying? But when it comes from the top, from Fed, like they just made Juneteenth a federal holiday, like they made Martin Luther King Day a federal holiday, these are from the top. These are top proclamations put into law. Go ahead.
Verse 47.
Yeah.
To you, all the children of Israel, thus says the king, for 6 days you shall do your work and labor, but on the 7th day you shall rest.
What shall you do?
Rest. And shall not perform any work. Thus shall you do all the days, as the king and Moses, the son of, how you pronounce that? Matthias, have commanded.
So right here it says it changed to 6 days you should do your work, right? So how many days were they working? 7. So they were getting 0 rest. The body couldn't maintain because it never can rest. And this is what the Most High, this is what the Sabbath is about, resting the body. If you don't rest the body, you're open for viruses. If you run your computer 7 days in a row nonstop, it's going to get a virus. or it'll go into hibernation on you, and it will shut down. It say you using me too much. All my memory is filled up, and you steady Google. I want to know what would I look like in some Stacey Adams. It's like we through. You've been on too long. We got to shut down. So, in like manner, the proclamation was to change it from 7 days a week to 6 days a week. But let's keep reading and see why this happened. Go ahead, read some more.
Verse 48.
Yeah.
And Moses rejoiced at the thing which the king had granted to him.
Uh-huh.
And all the children of Israel did as Moses ordered them. For this thing was from the Lord.
Who was it from?
From the Lord.
Uh-huh.
To the children of Israel. For the Lord had begun to remember the children of Israel to save them for the sake of their fathers.
Uh-huh.
And the Lord was with Moses, and his fame went throughout Egypt.
Right.
And Moses became great in the eyes of all the Egyptians, and in the eyes of all the children of Israel, seeking good for his people Israel, and speaking words of peace regarding them to the king.
Now, real quick, give me Judges 14 chapter. Because see, when things are from the Lord, he began to move the people. So the Sabbath day was reinstituted while we was in Egypt, but we was working 7 days a week. So y'all have to understand, you have to give your body a day of rest. If it's possible, if there's a way you can get off Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, ask the Lord to deliver you. But if they say you have to be here, you got one choice. You can say, I quit that job because they had me working on the Sabbath. And you say, what we gonna do about these bills? The Lord will be gracious. You know, I saw them at church the other day. They say, I looked in the mailbox and it was a check in there. From what bank? You know what I'm saying? So now you fall victim to 1 Tim 5. If a man can't take care of his household, he's worse than a what? So y'all, there's a balance. So what does the Sabbath really mean? It's not so much about work. It's about resting your body so that you don't get viruses, so that you can fight off a cold. Immediately when you sick, they say, take this and go home and get plenty of what? Rest. Rest is what restores the body. That's the purpose for the Sabbath. That's why you have Sabbath days after feast days. After the Passover, say you should count the next day as a Sabbath day. It's not the Sabbath, but you have to treat it like a Sabbath because we've been laughing, we've been having a good time, we've been doing things. It'd be hard for you to go to work because you'll probably be sleepy at work. Even after the Day of Atonement, it say, try not to go to work on the Day of Atonement. For one, they're going to be cooking. Ain't nobody else going to know you fasting for the Day of Atonement. What they supposed to do? What you going to do? Cuss out your supervisor? Now, see, they know I was Israelite. And everybody pulling their lunch out. Why do you eat lunch around me? For one, you shouldn't have been at work and you're trying to blame them. Right. But because you're not eating and drinking all day, if you cut lawns for a living, and you can't eat or drink, and you're out in 80, 90 degree weather cutting grass, and you're in the Day of Atonement, you're going to be weak and down. And when they find you on the side of the road trying to revive you and pouring cold water on you, they say, what happened? All tired of them Memberites, Womberites, some they call them, and went out to work, come out, he wasn't going to eat or drink nothing. And see, then the keeping of the commandments become a curse. Because we don't follow. And it's all about resting. When you're fasting, no food or water, you need to be where you can just sit down and rest. You cannot be doing hard labor while fasting. And we're talking about hard labor. So what I wanted to explain by this is that while we were in Egypt, and we claim in Egypt now, don't we? We were doing 7 days a week. Hard labor. We got 1 day off, but the thing was from the Lord. Real quick, Judges 14. Give me that real quick. Long, Mariah.
Judges chapter 14, starting verse 1.
Yeah. Well, Moses saw, Samson saw, and his daddy said, it's enough for the children of Israel. Yeah. Shouts out to the house of Ariah.
Congratulations, brother.
Fishing and Tamara. Rob, I think it's right. But we call it Sister T-Team, y'all. So, marriage was this past weekend. And also we had renewing of bodies. House of Ariel, Vanessa, Brother Ariel, Sister Abia.
30 years.
30 years, y'all.
We right behind y'all. 27. 28 this year.
Come on.
Where we at, y'all?
Judges chapter 14, verse 1.
What it say?
And Samson went down to Timnah and saw a woman in Timnah of the daughters of the Philistines.
Who did Samson see in Timnah, Judges 14?
Of the daughters of the Philistines.
Hold on, people get caught up. I want to be on the same page.
Where you at?
Judges 14, 1. We got another Samson name.
Is it Genesis or Judges?
Judges.
Don't let Mike throw you off.
Boy, I tell you, boy, when the virus
He
go
go
out,
Ain't what it used to be, so.
Go ahead, y'all.
Alright, Judges chapter 14, verse 1.
What it say?
And Samson went down to Timnah and saw a woman in Timnah of the daughters of the Philistines. And he came up and told his father and his mother and said, I have seen a woman in Timnah of the daughters of the Philistines. Now therefore get her for me to wife.
What it say?
Get her for me to wife. Then his father and his mother said unto him, Is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren, or among all my people that goeth to take a wife? I'm sorry. Let me read that verse 3 again. Then his father and his mother said unto him, Is there never a woman among the daughters of thy brethren, or among all my people, that thou goest to take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines?
So she said, Deuteronomy 7:6, why would you marry outside of Israel? We got 11 other tribes and our tribe. Why would you do it, Samson? It's plenty Danite women. Let's read some more.
And Samson said unto his father, Get her for me, for she pleaseth me well. But his father and his mother knew not that it was of the Lord.
What was it of?
Of the Lord. That he sought an occasion against the Philistines. For at that time the Philistines had dominion over Israel. Then went Samson down, and his father and his mother to Timnah, and came to the vineyards of Timnah. And behold, a young lion roared against him. And the Spirit of the Lord came mightily upon him, and he rent him as he would have rent a kid.
So right here, y'all, what we wanted to do was just see the thing was from the Lord. So the Lord breaking his own commandments. See, the Lord will move when he have to and things. So when we say naturally, just like we talked about burying or cremation, naturally you should marry somebody out of the 12 tribes. That's the law first. But we still got to deal with war. Does it mean that solely, and that should be your first choice. But if your first choice ain't working out, the Lord ordained this. And the situation was we was captive to the Philistines. Are we in captive now?
No.
Yeah, we captive to this nation.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, I mean, where you gonna go? You still under Deuteronomy 28. You still under the laws. So what I'm talking about, you're 70% of this penal system. And you're only 14% of the nation. So what are we in captivity in what? I'm not saying this opens the door or anything. I'm just saying when the Lord moved against them, he needed the strong man on the inside. Look, we celebrate the day of Purim. Who was she married to? Who was she married to? What was he? A king of who? So he was a Persian.
Well, shit, who was David's grandma?
See, and that's what we're talking about, y'all. The law is established to keep the nation built where it's at. If there has to be an amendment to the law, and when we're talking about amendment, situational, the law never goes away. You're still to follow the law first. That's what his parents told him. But they didn't have an idea of what Samson, the spirit, moved on him for. It was to deliver Israel. Just like Esther married that Persian king to do what? Because they were ready to do what for us? Hold it down, y'all. They were ready to do what? Kill us all. Kill us all. So if Esther had done, y'all gonna have to do y'all inside voice, bro. So if Esther had done married that king, we would have been dead that day because they sent out a proclamation also. Kill every Jew in every province on this planet. Y'all understand when you got to get inside, some things have to be made, but technically our laws for that. That don't give you a license just to go willy-nilly. But there's these examples we have to adhere to.
And then you still wasn't explaining what the Most High says he would have mercy and not sacrifice, or he'll have mercy on whom he would have mercy on.
Right, not only that, but when he gave Moses the 10 Commandments, you don't think the Lord knew he was married to Zipporah? That's when he got the law. See, but there's a difference in the order Melchizedek and this. For the priests, the seed of Aaron, they could no way, shape, or form break ranks. Under no circumstances could they break ranks. Their portion is the Most High, and also they had to be 100% pure because they're the intercessor. So the Messiah, to prevent any of that, to have any problems, that he never took a wife. That eliminates him from even having to do that. And he was ready to deliver Israel. Samson could have did it, but he chose to be married. If a man can't contend, instead of burning, let him do what? Let him marry. So, y'all, we have multiple times on this that where we see this, that you would have to explain this, not us. Because when Moses went up to get the 10 Commandments, he was already married to a woman. Is that true or not? Not only that, because in Numbers 12, his brother and sister spoke out at him. Wait a minute, man, how you gonna do that if you married to that woman? Who punished Miriam and Aaron for that? One last one. Give me Numbers 12 and 1 so we get some clear understanding. Y'all, we're gonna move on. One last one. Numbers 12 and 1.
Who was Ruth?
Right. Who was Ruth?
Because Ruth,
He said she was an Israelite.
Where you read that at?
because she's a near kinsman to Boaz in chapter 3, how she's a near kinsman to Boaz to keep that law if she's of another nation. See,
Who was the mother-in-law?
Naomi.
Who was Naomi?
Naomi was an Israelite. So,
Okay.
So was she a woman of Boaz who lived in the area where the Reubenites were, or was she a daughter of Boaz? The difference between a woman, if you look up in the Songs of Concordance, there's a difference between the flesh and blood, which is the daughter of what's the name of people?
Well, look.
And then the woman. Just like us, we Israelites here, but we are Israelites. We're not American per se, which even though we're here in America, we're not of America. We're not Europeans.
So you're basically saying the inheritance is because of the rule. So in Exodus 24 and 10, is that what I'm saying? When the Danite woman married, had a son by the Egyptian boy, whose side of the fence was he on?
Right, but that's not a blood thing.
It's not a blood thing?
No, I'm saying that is, but Ruth came from the
Who was
tribe.
Ruth? Ruth was set to marry Naomi's son.
Right.
He died.
Right.
He still has the inheritance. His inheritance must pass. So it had to pass through Ruth for Boaz because Boaz kin to Naomi. That son that died, or who was supposed to marry her, died.
Almost like Judah and Tamar.
Like Judah and Tamar, that son
So
died.
what relation was Ruth from Naomi to Boaz?
Kinsman.
But where? I don't see what she was related to him. When
So you're saying you don't understand what kinsman means? What does kinsman mean?
Your family.
So how is that? If it says Naomi was a kinsman, what does that mean?
That means she's kin to him.
Right.
Right.
So her son was to marry this Moabite woman. Right. So if he dies, that Moabite woman story. She said, I don't want to go back to my people. Your people will be my people. If you're already in Israel, what that statement come in for?
Because she was of the tribe of Reuben.
What the tribe of Reuben?
It's like then.
She was like then.
Because they had different judges. So why she would want to be under the judges of the children of the tribe of Judah instead of the tribe of Reuben? I mean, because that's the only thing they say. It can't be that she was just married in.
She said, well, tell me where you saw Reubenite in them scriptures anywhere. I'm just trying to see. Where was it said Reuben was a Reubenite?
Another nation.
Another nation?
Another nation.
She wasn't?
No, I think she beat. That's what I'm trying to
I'm asking to get the point. She says my people.
Right.
Who is her people?
The Moabites.
I'm saying I'm looking for Reubenite. I'm looking for Benjamite. I'm looking for Zechariah. I'm looking for which one?
Who was our dad?
See, not this world running on that wheel. See, that's what we have to be careful of, because these are groups that you read that don't want no other outside nation in. We still got the problem with Moses on Mount Sinai married to a Cushite. Who's her dad? He's a Midianite Jethro. He's a seed of Abraham, but is he of the 12 tribes.
Not only that, he took advice from Jethro to say
Not circumcised.
not circumcised, but also to say captains and chiefs and everything. And he took that advice from a Midianite priest.
So a close kin can be someone who married. That's what I'm trying to ask you.
Well, what I'm saying is inheritance laws. This is what we're talking about, the law of inheritance. The law of inheritance, if a man has daughters only and no son, inheritance, they go through the daughter. So we had to set a provision for that. He got daughters, but no son. What had to take place? The daughter don't get no inheritance. The daughter have to marry a Judite of whatever tribe she was from, the same tribe.
So that the inheritance then passed from one tribe to another.
This is the only way Christ could have been king. Because Mary's father had no sons. So when she married Joseph, Joseph would have had to be king. He was from Judah, so Judah and Judah married, and the inheritance passed from him to restore the kingship to Messiah. That's the daughters of Zehoshaphat. That's what they asked Moses. A man ain't got no. See, how the Most High want us to work things out. It never changed the law. It made an amendment to the law. Like you have the Constitution, and then you have the 10th Bill of Rights. Underneath each one of those bills is 100 amendments dealing with that one bill. Under marriage, like fornication. What is fornication? Sexual immorality. Or spiritual, but the deal is what resides under that. It's the octopus. If you think about the body of an octopus, and it has 10 tentacles coming off of it. Each one of those tentacles is a form of fornication, adultery, lust, concupiscence, bestiality. All of those fall under fornication. So when you say fornication, you have to identify the broken part of fornication. So if it's a misdemeanor, I don't get charged with a felony of adultery. Because that's felony. Fornication. Whooping yourself like it owe you money is not a felony.
Wait a minute.
That's self-abuse.
If y'all see, I had to throw this over because we got children in there. But if Ruthie Palm is your favorite, that may get to fornication, but it's not adultery. That's a felony, one a misdemeanor, but they still fall under fornication. So it's like giving somebody a first-degree murder charge, and all they did was manslaughter. The charges don't fit. Usually they go back to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court minimizes he out of jail or time served. Because they charged him too much for the crime. It wasn't that crime. So what we're telling you is, when you look at Ruth, Ruth clearly knew who she was and where she was from. And she said, my people. Now the problem is, if she was an Israelite, and then Deuteronomy 23 still going to affect her, a Moabite or Amalekite came into the congregation of Israel for 10 generations. You still got a problem with that. You still got a problem, even if it was Israelites in Moab. I read that though, bro. It was just the One West was putting that out. A couple other non-Messianic groups were putting that out. But she was a Moabite.
And it always referred to her as a Moabitish woman.
Right.
It never refers to her as an Israelitish woman or a Reubenitish woman.
And if you look at Luke chapter 1, verse 1, it said that they went back to their gods.
So what we're talking about, bro, this is what we're talking about. That's why we couldn't marry a Canaanite. But Judah married a Canaanite woman. His first 2 children, by and Onan, were struck down and killed because it said they were wicked. Yeah. They practiced like they mama taught. So, bro, this is what we said. When you rolling through these, man, you got to ask why. And look, the whole deal is you missed the whole conversation. The conversation was between her and Naomi. When you get back into the conversation between them two, tells the subject matter. It tells what's really going on. And he said, well, thou my near kinswoman. She's like, yeah, I was pumped. The other daughter that was going to marry her other son, she went back to her people. She said, no, I'm going back to my people. Look, here's another. When the men of war capture people from another war, they kill all the men and women left. What do you have to do with the women of another nation? She has to shave all of her hair and pare all her fingernails, cut her fingernails off, and you must let her mourn for her people for 30 days, and then you can take her to wife. But who does she belong to? Another nation, don't she? But you have to cleanse her of her gods. So the one thing to do is cut her hair off and let her start fresh. It's like a vow. All our vows was you cut your hair off, you start fresh, so to speak. Most men coming out of jail, they woolly as hell, beard scraggly. What's the first thing they do? Shave them up before they take them to court, don't they? So, y'all, what we're talking about is understanding the law for every 4 corners, because we got the adversary that's trying to make you break the law underneath the law and you don't see it. Satan was there when the laws were put down. Satan knows the law better than everybody in here. And the only reason he knows it better because he knows all 4 sides. If we stick to the law and say no, then we can defeat him. But we can't defeat him reading one portion and don't answer all the back doors that's related to a situation, because ain't nothing uncommon that's happened to man that ain't happened since Adam. What gate do Adam and Eve go through? What gate do Abraham go through of the 12 tribes? What gate do Noah go through? Huh? What gate? Any gate they decide to go through. Or will they be in the kingdom? Will Noah be in the kingdom? Yeah. Will Adam be in the kingdom? What tribe was that?
It's way before tribes.
The tribe of mankind. Look, will any Hamite be at the kingdom? The court of the Gentiles, they had the law. Noah gave them the law when they got up the ark, didn't he? Nimrod was a mighty hunter before who? The law. How was he able to do that with what? Commandments, wasn't it? Till pride kicked in. Bro, I understand what you're saying, but read the discussion between Naomi and Ruth, and it'll clear the matter for you. They skipped you to inheritance and took you over here, and you basically given her a charge that this charge should be applied. I'll say one last thing, y'all, because I got to get in here and get on this in this last hour and a half. I believe I can do it if Zed and Ariel quit talking, but I believe I can get it done. So y'all, this is another thing what Elijah was going over last night. Real quick, give me Barnabas 14 and 11. Real quick, because what Elijah was explaining last week, what we gonna do before she pull her clothes off? How do we stop it before she pull her clothes out? You got 2 different ways You can call it abstinence. That'll stop conception, won't it? You got to be careful, a young lady, she don't be clothes burning too hot. Because a man have what he called pre before the big one. That could cause conception. I didn't do nothing. We didn't even pull our clothes when you were setting a fire. A lot of friction going on. I didn't even do nothing. Well, it was some leakage. Leakage caused a baby. Is that the truth or not? Yes. What does it say right there in that Barnabas 14 and verse 11?
It says, thou shalt not destroy thy conception.
What shall thou not do?
Thou shalt not destroy thy conception.
Read a little bit more.
Before they are brought forth.
Before they are what?
Before they are brought forth.
Go ahead.
Nor kill them after they are born.
So we got an issue here with this law. It says you cannot kill them when conception has already taken place. That means you can't force a miscarriage. Nor can you give them the morning after pill. Nor can you send them to Planned Parenthood to have an abortion. But that's after conception. What causes conception? Huh? So if you stop that before that happens, how can you be in danger of that law? That law is put there after dirt has already been performed. It doesn't speak before. Another. Can anybody find in the scripture where a young woman who was considered a harlot and you see a punishment for it? Now you may see constantly over and over a married woman that played the harlot should be burnt with fire. But we have to get the definition of what a harlot is before we just label her a whore. A practicing harlot that has John on Monday, Jimmy on Thursday, Willie on Friday is a practicing harlot. So now she can be labeled a whore. Because she has multiple means in there. Multiple dances.
That's going to bring forth some confusion.
It's going to bring forth some confusion. Because if you go over there on Thursday and some shoes under the bed, big enough that you got on a pair of Timberlands and you can put them Timberlands inside that shoe, you know it's trouble. You're like, who you had over here?
And what about
Let me get my sunflower seeds and Hennessy and get out of here. Ain't no work I can do. Those shoes was left for a reason, wasn't it? So, y'all look, there's a lot of laws you don't But while we are bringing these things forth, y'all, concerning the law, you would never see a harlot punished unless she played the harlot. I'm talking about, does it mean she won't out? Yes, there's trouble that comes with that. But look, how were women made harlots? If a man took a virgin, slept with her, and then disappeared, now she can't be considered a purebred virgin wife. You have to tell another man that Slick Willie got at her only one time. She'd been in the house ever since. He tricked her. He slicked her out of there, told her he was going to marry her, and he did. You can't still call her a virgin, so is wife entitled harlot. That means she had sex before she had a covering put over her. That's why Rahab was called that. Yeah, go ahead.
So if she do that, can she then become a wife?
That's what it changed to. It immediately changed to the term wife. I don't care what scripture you read, the name changes from this to wife. Because this book is about marriage, from Genesis to Revelation. It's about marriage. There ain't no sex slaves. There ain't no woman you can just have sex with on the low. There's no such thing in the Bible as sex slaves. Even if you had a handmaid which was cleaning up your house, if you touched her sexually, you better marry her.
So am I correct? Because I was having this discussion with him. Go ahead. People come to me all the time. So sex is not marriage. That's what I'm saying.
Sex is a part of marriage after the public ceremony.
But if you don't have, some people will say, if you have sex with a woman, that's your wife.
No.
But they never do the oath. They never actually stand before people to witness.
Well, look here. A lot of men in here got a lot of wives in here. You look, high school, you got a lot of wives. Look, there was a lot of wives on prom night that don't nobody even talk about. You got the prom preaching, but ain't no due benevolence went to that wife, have it? Look, and why all the jokes be, man, he was out of there quicker than, he was off quicker than the prom dress. Because they know what takes place at that time. I'm out of school, I feel like I'm an adult. Prom time, I may get lucky. Well, if sex is marriage, that's your wife. If you went by Proverbs 7, that's your wife. If sex is marriage.
Where is she now? Because you ain't taking care of her.
You ain't taking care of her. So what happens is, if a man and a woman have sex before the public ceremony, they endow themselves to one another. They live together, they do this together, they do that together, they pay their bills together, and then they set a marriage date to put the law back in front. They put the ceremony back in front. Now, you got people that don't even know the law, and when they know somebody been living together for 10 years and they finally get married, say, you know, Jimmy and Betty finna get married, what do all the people say? About what? About time. Why are you saying about time if sex is marriage and they've been living together, they paying all their bills together, they raising 10 children together? What makes it about time when they make it a public ceremony? Because it's writing, putting things, they're putting the hearts back in front of the car. So now our marriage, so that's why, and look, if you endowed, you living with a woman you ain't married yet, you're endowed, so she's considered a wife at that point. Even though y'all ain't had the public ceremony, she's endowed to you. This my fiance, she off limits, she live with me. She in my house. So we're just endowed, but the public ceremony is coming as soon as we get enough change. Now the public ceremony could be at Applebee's. You and her mama and your mama, because that's two witnesses. You know, after they bring the spinach dip, well, we got something to tell y'all. Yeah, I'm gonna marry her, you know. And then after the meal, the two parents are saying, yeah, we can tell everybody in the family, you know, they don't have to sleep in separate rooms when they visit Mississippi again. Because you go to Mississippi, I don't care how long you've been living together, the first question they ask down south, is y'all married? Well, no, what do you mean, where our room at? Your room is on the couch. Her room is in there because ain't no certificate. So when you living together like that and the marriage, you're endowed at that point. This is technically your fiance until the public ceremony takes place that everybody can say, okay. But why do they say about time? It was already time, wasn't it? Why do they say about time when they've been together for 20 years and they decide to make it legal? So that's what we're talking about, y'all. We're talking about the laws of God that cover mistakes. When they say you keep the law, if it broke, if y'all had intercourse before the public ceremony, then you still have to keep the law. That means you have to fix it back. You have to tell somebody it just got too hot at the drive-in. We couldn't contain ourselves. Once them windows steamed up, it was on. Where we at?
Okay, so under the order of the Kansas, you know, we do it's the intention. So if a man look out and see a woman, and he knows he's not gonna marry her, but he still sleep with her, does he need to say that when he come up with that idea because he's doing that?
Let's get this in Deuteronomy 22 real quick, y'all. I gotta get to this lesson, we're gonna move on. Like, give me some Deuteronomy 22. Yeah, give me some Deuteronomy 22. But y'all, we have to do this because there's 1,000 other people. We're gonna get right to this. Is in covering too. Because all of this is considered cover. Give me 22. 20, let me see, 13. No, that's the hate part. See, that kills, 13 kills anybody that say a woman can't be remarried. See, the law say a divorced woman can be remarried. It never says you can't. People go to 1 Corinthians and say, if her husband be dead, then she can remarry. Well, death is considered 7 years if you ain't seen your husband. And he ain't did no due benevolence. 7 years go by, he's considered dead in the eyes of everybody. because it starts a new jubilee when you're supposed to release everything after 7 years. If he be dead. Now, technically, you're supposed to be till one of you die, then you can remarry. But the law say, what Elijah just said, if you read 13 down to 22, it says, if a man marry a woman and find no favor in her, then they go before the judges, and he can let her go if the favor is warranted. But he's got to pay a price because men would do that all the time. I don't like her no more. It's the same thing that's happening with these camps now. They're saying she's a wicked woman. You didn't know that before you married her. And then you put her on the back burner. Now you up to 13 wicked women, and you still keep going to that same store of wicked women looking for a Proverbs 31. The other store, Proverbs 31 store, is out there. It's in the county.
You're not acting too bright.
That's what we're saying. That's why
you're not even learning from your own mistakes.
That's why the Messiah went back to the law in Matthew 19. He said, I tell you what, if a man divorce a woman, except it be for fornication, both spiritually or physically, he's committing adultery. That's what the law say. It says if that's a divorce clause, ain't it? Then he can marry another person, she can marry another person. Even in 1 Corinthians 7 says she's bound by the law as long as he living. But if he dead, she's free from what law? What law is it talking about? Because it's never explained by T.D. Jakes now. When they say woman thou are loose, loose from what? What law in these scriptures is she loose from? Because they're talking about law is in the picture. So when we go to law, we got the first 5 books of Moses to find this situation in 1 Corinthians 7. There it is, all day long. But get that 22 for me. Where you going to start? Like, start about 23. No. Hold on. 13 is what we were just speaking of, if he find no fault in. I tell you what, where was we at, Two by?
That was 24.
Okay.
24.
That was judgment for
28.
adultery.
28 through 30. Same Deuteronomy. What it say?
A man find a damsel. That is a virgin.
That is a what? Deuteronomy 22:28.
Y'all there? Y'all there?
Let's roll, y'all. 22:28. Deuteronomy. Let's get it.
If a man find a damsel that is a virgin,
Right.
which is not betrothed,
Which is not.
betrothed,
That means she ain't hooked up with nobody. She just a single woman out there. Go ahead.
and lay hold on her.
And what he do?
Lay hold on her. And lie with her.
And do what?
Lie with her.
See what he lay hold first. He talking sweet nothings, naughty nothings. Go ahead.
And lie with her, and they be found.
And they be what?
Found.
Yeah.
Then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver.
You don't get away with, like when we were coming up, what we call the big boys in the neighborhood would say, yeah, I popped her that goes in a Shirley Temple. What goes in the Shirley Temple? So that was the thing to do to young virgins. That was illegal. But the big boys in our neighborhood made it seem like the cool thing.
We got badge of honor.
I had a boy singing to me, Smokey Robinson, embarrassed me. Boy, you ain't had no woman yet, have you? Yeah, no, you ain't. How can you love a virgin, man? A virgin? I ain't no virgin. They made me feel like I was an outcast. But it was good at 13 years old I hadn't had a woman. But they made it sound like I was Urkel. And then they started singing that Smokey. How can you love a virgin, man? No, that ain't how it goes. But y'all know what I'm talking about. Go ahead, though.
That's what he heard.
And stuck with him.
Yeah.
It's take you love.
Look, now, that same woman they were talking about breaking that Shirley Temple additive, the drink I'm talking about. I was liking that boy one day. I really loved her. And now this big boy done already said I done violated that already. What they do for me?
It was like finding them two big shoes.
Boy, look here! What if you finished that line?
You realize you weren't doing nothing.
Yeah. And he was driving a car too?
No,
That was a charity case.
Look here, my bike still had cards in the spokes to make it sound good. I was driving a car, yeah. Go ahead, bro.
verse 29.
Yeah.
Then the man that lay with her shall give unto her the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver,
50 shekels.
and she shall be his wife.
And what shall she be?
His wife.
See, what was she before? Because she wasn't engaged to nobody and he had sex with her, that makes her a harlot. Because she's a woman that didn't have no covering. Now, covering is being forced. This was what was shotgun weddings back in the day. Yeah. Go ahead, what else to say?
Because he hath humbled her.
What has he done?
Humbled her. He may not put away all his days.
Oh, what he may not do?
Put her away all his days.
He can never divorce her. Ever. Unless, the next verse, what it say? Is that it?
A man shall not take his father's wife,
Okay.
nor discover his father's skirt.
See, so now we're talking about an MF. A mother for unlawful carnal knowledge. F-U-C-K meaning for unlawful carnal knowledge, meaning sexual intercourse. That's why we say a mother for unlawful carnal knowledge. It's a curse word. Curse be the man.
That layeth with his father.
It's not a dictionary to say these curse words. No, this came from a curse would be pronounced on you if you did this. You would be called an MF. Let's read some more, y'all. Where we at?
Verse 20.
That's it on that, y'all. We need to read no more of that. So, y'all see, that's shotgun wedding. When a man would show up at the door of her father, Jimmy Lee in there. Get Jimmy Lee. Get Jimmy Lee. What you want with Jimmy Lee? Show him your belly.
You know what they want.
Uh-oh. Sir, did she swallow a cantaloupe? No, she ain't swallowed no cantaloupe. Get Jimmy Lee out here. And he got that shotgun. Click, click. And the pastor standing right there, too, with his Bible. Open. They finna get married right now. Jimmy Lee, come on out here. You finna get married. What you say, Papa? You about to get married. And he come out the door. You totally did. She couldn't have no choice but to tell it. So, y'all, these laws covered every situation that's involved with a man and a woman because it started off that way. A man should not a man should not be by himself, right?
Right.
So I make a help me for him. So once that took off in the garden, and it ends in Revelation the same way. The marriage supper of the Lamb. It's a marriage, y'all. See, once you start bringing in sex slave, you legalize prostitution in. And this allows men to send men out to the strip joint. Then that's legal. Now, what the hell you up in there spending money? Bird, $15 a bird, what I heard. Lap dance is $10 a song, what I heard. Huh?
You need to stop listening, Dad.
Yeah.
Stop listening, Dad.
Huh? Well, see, they need the bird to get them hyped up. I'm going to put that listening license. Just like I told that TV about keeping me up late at night. I'm going to put that TV on punishment. Where we at, y'all? Come on, y'all. We need to get caught up. Is that good? We good on that, y'all. So we good on everything. Do we have anything else that we mentioned to? Let's get right into it. 1 Corinthians 11. Y'all, we're going to get this caught up. We may have to take it to 5:30, but we're going to get this caught up. Y'all, but it's good, y'all, to answer these questions because Israel, the law has become a strange thing for us. We look at it like, man, where did it come from? While we get that 1 Corinthians 11, y'all. No such thing as a sex slave. The Most High didn't set it up like that. Do you know men dog women out like that? You ain't good for nothing but the kitchen and the bedroom. The kitchen and the bedroom. Well, that would be a wife. I don't know where you going to the strip club and telling her you need to be in the kitchen and barefoot. She gonna twerk you up some eggs or what's happening? No such thing can't be found in the Bible. From Genesis to Revelation can't be found. Sex is a part of marriage. A part. Like when Christianity say the law was nailed to the cross, what about the prophets? They say the law and the prophets. How you gonna keep doing half of anything? If you got half your credits, can you graduate?
No.
So I guess you have to be married spiritually before you can be married naturally, right?
That's the way it should be.
That's what it forward down.
That's the way it should be. Where we at? Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna do a little speed reading, y'all. Go ahead.
1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 1.
Covering because of the angels. This is the part we get to. Go ahead.
Be ye followers of me.
Of who?
Of me.
Uh-huh.
Even as I also am of Christ. Now I praise you, brethren, that you remember me in all things and keep the ordinances as I deliver them to you.
Okay, so these are commandments, ordinances, ain't these statutes and judgments. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. But I would have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach.
Uh-huh.
And the head of the woman is the man.
Uh-huh.
The head of Hamashiach is Yahweh. Every man praying or prophesying, having his head covered, dishonoreth his head.
What do he do?
Dishonoreth his head.
What does that mean? If you have his head covered, praying or prophesying. We always got to start spiritual first. So if you have your head covered and you're praying to the Most High, but technically you're whoring around with another God. So you have your head technically covered. Not only this, but if you said my pastor, if you said my reverend, if you said my high priest, if you said anything in Matthew 23, 1 through 7, this is what it's talking about. Call no man what?
For one is yours in heaven.
If you got a leader over you, so to speak, and you in the house of the Lord, you praying to him, and you got him on your mind, and we just read verse 1 where it says, be a follower of me as I'm a follower of Christ. Christ is the head of man. How you gonna put this Negro in the middle? And how they put that Negro in the middle, they'll tell you Christ has a blemish. He was born blemished. His daddy took his mama up in a barn, and nobody in the public knew about it, and he had her away with her, and then he tried to put her away privately. That's what they're saying about the Messiah when you say Joseph is his dad. It's impossible to get an unblemished lamb out of that situation, and there was no public ceremony. What was Christ's first miracle at? At a wedding. Let's read some more.
Verse 5.
Yeah.
But every woman that prayeth or prophesieth with her head uncovered dishonoreth her head, for that is even all one as if she were shaven.
Now most people stop there. Right there, that's where they say her head has to be covered. Did this say all time of the day?
No.
Did it say everywhere you go?
No.
When did it say a woman's head had to be covered?
When praying or prophesying.
And it's going to be a reason for that. It's just not for Negroes to control women, sit them on that side and men on this side. You got another covering over you, and you finna talk about Christ, and a man just separated you from your wife? You got another covering, and you finna talk about Christ. Your head is covered, man. Let's read some more.
Verse 6. For if the woman be not covered, let her also be shorn. But if it be a shame for a woman to be shorn or shaven, let her be covered.
Let her be covered, because a woman is not supposed to shave her hair off. We got example of shaving. Leviticus 13, Leviticus 14, when we talk about leprosy. It says that then a woman must cut her hair off. If a woman brought back from war, she has to cut her hair off. So it was situations that caused a woman may have to have wearing a wig, so to speak. So, but it's saying if a woman just cut her hair low and don't cover it up, what she may get look like is a man. She may get another woman. You could bring in lesbianism. You could bring in Romans 1:20. Working that which is unseemly. No, it said it will prevent bumping uglies. You know what I'm saying? Because the children in there. Go ahead. What else to say about it?
Verse 8.
Yeah.
No. Verse 7.
Yeah.
For a man indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image and glory of Yahweh.
See, and that was Genesis 1:26. So that's when he's the image. This is how far this going back to tell us who his covering was. Verse 1 is saying the same thing. Let us make man in our image. That's our covering. Go ahead.
But the woman is the glory of the man.
What is the woman?
The glory of the man.
See, the man can't even glory in himself because he'll disrespect Christ. His glory is in his woman. His woman showed, that's why we read Zechariah 26, Proverbs 31. Everything it says in there about a good woman, it brings happiness to his bones. The man that finds his wife finds what?
Good thing.
See, so constantly that's where the glory's at. Unless that glory is changed. And Zechariah 25 comes into that plane and explains that part of it. But the rest of it clears it up that it's a good thing for a man to find a woman. To relieve him so he don't keep trying to make it drift. Because he ain't got no rain money. Go ahead.
Verse 8.
Yeah.
For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man.
See how we keep going back to the beginning? This ain't got nothing to do with the law of Aaron. This is in the beginning. This is Mikhail's today. Go ahead.
Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man.
Right.
For this cause ought the woman to have power on her head because of the angel.
Because of the angel. What does this have to do? What does this have to do with anything we talk about? What does the angels have to do with any of this?
Genesis 6.
Genesis 6. Genesis 3. But let's just get there real quick. Real quick. And give me, before we go there, give me 2 Corinthians 11:14, real quick. 2 Corinthians 11:14, before we go to Genesis 3. We're gonna hit 2 Corinthians 11:1 when we come back, but I just want to hit verse 14. Real quick, somebody read that, and then we're going to write to Genesis 3, and we're going to see about the angels and covering.
You said 2 Corinthians 11:14.
Yes, sir.
And no more, but Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light.
What is Satan transformed into?
Angel of light.
Uh-huh.
Therefore, it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness.
See, so you'll have lawbreakers calling themselves righteous. I'm a God. I'm this. I'm talking to this. And you got that as a covering. And go ahead, sis. That's 2 Corinthians 11:14. So it says Satan masquerades as an angel of light. So he can transform himself. He don't have to look like the devil. The woman chasing the bad boy been going on since the Garden of Eden. It's the pretty boy they talk about. Remember, Toomey had that jam. You, me, and he. But look, the boy that's married had the dreads, and the other boy was suave, standing at the bar. He had on a white blazer with a bow tie on. Boy, I'm talking about he looking like Leon. Y'all know Leon in his prime, standing like that. What we gonna do about this? You, me, and he. Greasy. But songs will start to be made like that. Let's read some more. Where we at? We finished that? What's the question? Real quick. We're going Genesis 3:1. What you got, bro?
Abachani asks, what if the husband leaves his wife, moves in somewhere else, and lays with another woman for months almost no communication with the wife.
And don't divorce her. If she go get with another man, everything she do with that other man, the adultery goes to him, not her. Because that's what he was saying. Malachi 2 say you just separate from women and you wouldn't divorce. That keeps control. I'm not going to divorce her. But you're letting her live over here with this guy for 10 years and you won't cut it off. Every time she sleep with that man, you get a mark on your belt that says adultery to you.
That's the difference between divorce and put away.
That's the difference between a divorce. Because 1 Corinthians 7 it say let you be separated for a minute till you come back together. But hurry up and get this thing under control before Satan slip in there. Because Slick Willie waiting at the club when your girlfriends take you out. Girl, come on out, let's go out. That girl, look, he keep looking at you. He can't look at you. You married still. You just separate. Endowment or espouse is like before you sign, you still married. But the ceremony makes it legal. It's like a fiancé. Separation is the precursor before the divorce. You're separated and you're contemplating divorce, you're still married. If it cannot work out, because he said, I call every man to peace. If there can be no peace, if you find crazy glue on your secret parts, you cannot have no peace in that house. That woman hates you. She done glued you to yourself. And then she tickle you with a feather that arouse you to leave the house. You have to divorce her. Hey! Boy, I'm telling you, it's in the newspaper. Women will wrap men up in a blanket, feed them good, put them to sleep, wrap them up in a blanket, pour lighter fluid on them, and set them on fire. Shit. Don't get out of that.
Oh, keep peace at your house.
Hey, what's up, my man? Where we at? Did we finish that question? Did we finish that question, y'all?
Yeah.
To get some good understanding.
Yeah, she said she knew it.
Yeah. So what happens is if he leaves to go live with somebody else, he's abandoning you. If it's been more than 7 years, you can legally get a divorce if you're legally married. That's a new thing going around, email certificates and text message marriages. I ain't never seen no such thing. You can't take a text message to court and it not be filed in court and say we married.
Can't just take her word for it because she divorced you.
Right. Let's read some more. What it say? 3 and 1, y'all. We got to get caught up. Genesis 3 and 1.
3 verse 1.
What it say?
Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Most High Yahweh had made.
Right.
And he said unto the woman, Yea, as Yahweh said, ye shall not eat of every tree in the garden.
So in the beginning, y'all, we see the first thing the devil always asks is, what did God tell you to do? And that the first thing he asked the Messiah on the Mount Matthew 4, when he went up to the mountain, first thing you do is ask him about scripture. Satan always asks you, what did God tell you? Once you tell him this what God told you, that's when the trouble starts. Ain't that the same way with the boy? We ain't supposed to have company. Why? Because my mama said can't nobody be in our house till she get home from work. That's the law, ain't it? Yeah. So what then? Because the person that won't in asked you why. You told him why. My mama said, next thing they ask is, well, what time she get off? 4 o'clock? Well, it's 1:30 now. She said, as long as ain't nobody in here when she get home, better nobody be in my house. I'll be out in an hour.
She coming home early.
Double it. When you hear the door slam, you holler, uh-oh, she here early. What's going to happen? You're out the window or whatever it's going to be. But it's still going to be punishment because she knows when she's sniffing like, I'm going to get you, don't drink your juice in the hood. There's some pork and rice in here, something. Something taking place up in here. Y'all seen the rockadoochies? Y'all seen the rockadoochies when they put their nose down, Daikon put his nose down at another man's britches, say, you know I can smell it. And the emo did the same thing. She put her nose down. I'm telling the highest on you. And what we mean by that is somebody calling themselves a high priest. And then the next breath, they read a scripture from the Messiah. Who's your cover? You calling him the high priest, and then he read the scriptures of your true high priest and gives it back to you. That means you have a man as your cover.
Been a meeting.
Yeah.
Introducing Farrakhan into a Million Man March.
Can y'all believe that? Now he's supposed to be the savior of the world. You know what I'm saying? And he introduced Farrakhan as his excellency. Of what? Of tomfoolery? Let's read some more. Where we at?
Verse 3.
Yeah.
Now, verse 2. And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Yahweh has said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die.
See, and it's the same thing your parents said. Don't open that door for nobody. I don't care who it is.
Lest ye die.
What about Jesus? Well, he ain't gonna need a key. He'll just come in. So nobody other than him. Lest you get your donkey toe up. What does it say?
Verse 4.
Yeah.
And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die.
Ye shall not surely die. Is he lying to her? Technically, he's switching it on. Technically, she never immortality or everlasting dies. Because in the lake of fire, how long you burn? How long you torment? See, it's not like the Jehovah's Witness say, you just go to the lake of fire and then that's the end of your existence, even eternal. So technically he twisted it on and said, you shall not surely die. He just didn't add, but it may be in the lake of fire. And then he bright because he's a high-ranking cherub. Ezekiel 1:28 say, Ezekiel 12, I believe it is, to say he was the anointed cherub. That means when you look at cherubims, they sit near the mercy seat. He up there, the mercy seat covered the Ark of the Covenant. When you look at the Ten Commandments, those are cherub. That's where he was in the heavens, covering the mercy seat. So he's trying to eliminate mercy with this. So he knows he's going to live forever. Where he going to live forever in life? In the lake of fire. See, because hell and death is cast where? So he ain't even talking about that physical death. She's supernatural now, y'all. Y'all have to understand this. She's preternatural, and what I mean by that, she was made from earth and a supernatural being, like Adam was. He's preternatural. That's why there's only two individuals in the Bible can truly be called the Son of God. The Messiah and Adam. Because who's Adam's mom? Dirt? Who's his mom? So, contrary to these camps trying to get you to believe Hebrews 2:15, it has to be a man and a woman. We just have to go back. Who's Adam's daddy? You don't have to argue about that. Just ask, who's Adam's daddy? And they be quiet just like y'all quiet. Right. Let's read a little bit more of that.
Verse 5.
Yeah.
For Yahweh does know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. You
shall be as gods because your eyes are open that you will live eternally. The problem is it in the kingdom of heaven or is it in the lake of fire? See, gods don't die. This is what we need to understand. These men around here talking about they gods, they gonna die like men, like Psalm 82:6 say. You can call yourself God, but you're gonna die like men. He had to do that in the garden because they would have lived forever. And why they had to get kicked out of the garden is because if they would have fixed that wrong in the garden, then wrong would have been fixed in the garden, and then wrong would exist in the kingdom of God. Get out of here. Blocked away so they can't come back through this door. We were kicked out of our homeland for the same thing. We can't come back in there with what we doing now, what we thinking. Some of us got plans after class. Thinking about things. Well, you do it in the kingdom. What you thinking about? Woke up some of that boy, Theo smiling, boy. I saw his kidney, he smiling so hard. Boy, Theo about to swallow his ears. What you smiling about? Whoa, yeah, go ahead. So,
Verse 6.
yeah.
And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food,
Right?
and that it was pleasant to the eye, and a tree to be desired.
A tree to be what?
To be desired.
What does desire mean? A longing for, a craving, or the kicker, sexual appetite. Let's read some more.
Desire to make one wise.
To make one what?
Wise. She took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat.
See, it's Slick Willie at the grocery store. I see you married, I see the ring, but are you happy? What the hell does that mean? What does it mean? Does it mean, are you living in a mansion? Or is it a Rolls Royce out there in the parking lot? Well, you know better than that, I'm in shopping saying. But, so what is he talking about?
Do you want to give me some?
So what he's asking, are you sexually gratified? That's the only happiness it could be. Are you missing fornication? Would you be happier with fornication? And this is what the devil is asking Eve. And not only that, but after she did that, she went and told her husband, and he took the advice. What did he tell you? Who was this about? Say he a high priest. Say he was a cherubim up in heaven. Was it the Messiah? No, it wasn't him. It wasn't the tree of life. Who was it? The tree of good and evil. He said, look, the Messiah just don't want us to know what we really could be, how powerful we could be. So he explained that all to me. What else did he show? He told me how we got to do it. We got to have some sex match. And then the woman eats another way. See, first you eat. Eat means to bring in knowledge. And then eat, because a woman have 2 mouths. One south of the belly button. Real quick, Proverbs 30 and 20. Real quick. So we get some understanding on eating. And then Hosea 10:13 says you have eaten the fruit of lies. When they tricked us out of Jerusalem. See, the devil been using the same thing from the beginning. He don't have to go from that. Then Balaam say the same thing. He said you can't curse them. Only thing you can do is get them hooked up into fornication. Their first commandment is to be fruitful and multiply, so we just got to switch the order. We got to make it illegal how to have an intercourse and being multiplied. And then you get what Elijah was teaching last week about a brood of children of the ungodly. What it says, real quick.
Proverbs chapter 30, verse 19.
What it say?
The way of an eagle in the air, the way of a serpent upon a rock, the way of a ship in the midst of the sea, and the way of a man with a maid. Such is the way of an adulterous woman.
Such is the way of the what?
Adulterous woman.
What is adultery? Y'all scared?
Sex with another one.
Right. Go ahead. What else it say?
It says she eateth.
She do what?
Eateth. And wipeth her mouth.
Right.
And said, I have done no wickedness.
I have done no wickedness. Where you been, woman? It's 4:45. Well, she left at 5 a.m. and it's 5 p.m. It's still a problem if she don't say work. But it all depends on the work too. So, but it says she eateth and wipeth her mouth and say, I've done no wickedness. So wipe it, do that. But look, all were the punishments up here. Was the punishment of the woman, thou shalt be missing front teeth. Thou will never be able to chew an apple again. Thou shalt be minus your wisdom teeth. if the punishment was about eating a literal fruit, the punishments would be up here. But where are her curses at? Let's read. Where the curses at? See, that don't mean she physically, the key was the touch. Did he touch it? Did he pull what the watchers did in Genesis 6? He could have did cordus interruptus. Y'all know what that means? Okay, all right. So Satan could have did that because if Cain's his son, Cain have to be a giant. You can't have giants over here and don't have a giant over here.
Right, because he was a supernatural being. That means he created a Nephilim too.
But he may have been doing some other things, clothes burned with or something. But what he showed her, the curses are for what she did. Let's read the curses. 1 verse 6.
What is that? Genesis back
3 and 6. No, that's all you had right there for the woman that is, right? That's it real quick on that. Go ahead. Zeb, see, I'm trying to be quick in these last 40 minutes. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Genesis chapter 3, verse 6.
Yeah.
No, I'm on verse 7.
Yeah.
I'm on 16.
No.
Okay, I'm on 7.
Okay.
And the eyes of them both were open, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. And they heard the voice of the Most High Yahweh walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Most High Yahweh amongst the trees of the garden.
So they still in the Garden of Eden and they hid themselves because Ezekiel 31 tells us men are like fruit trees. And Matthew 12, Matthew 7 tell us you'll know a tree by its what? Either a tree gonna produce good fruit or gonna do what? Produce evil fruit. So we know men are looked at as trees. So go ahead, what did that verse say?
Verse 9.
Yeah.
And the Lord Yahweh called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself.
Right.
And he said, Who told thee thou was naked?
Right.
Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat?
We're going to hold up, but give me real quick. Exodus 33 and 25. Real quick. 33 and 25. Maybe 31, but 33 and 25. Exodus.
Yeah, that's what Moses said.
Yes. That it?
Yeah.
What did it say, Ariel? Exodus 33:25.
And when Moses saw that the people were naked, for Aaron had made them naked.
What Aaron do?
Had made them naked unto their shame among their enemies. Then Moses stood in the gate of the camp and said, Who is on the Lord's side? Let him come unto me. And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves together unto him.
So how did Aaron make the people naked? Did he pull off their clothes? See, so what happened is he made them serve another god in me. Right. He gave them another covering right after the marriage. Moses up getting the marriage certificate. What they doing now at the base of the mountain? The devil in there, they're making a golden calf. Where they come from? They come right out of Egypt, didn't they? So you right back whoremongering, and we ain't even, you doing it before the marriage ceremony. Huh? Just split the Red Sea. We out of there, we into marriage ceremony, it's the engagement process, and we already horned before the marriage. So they were made naked. So they were not naked, just walking around the garden like they were just in front of men and women. No, it means spiritually, the covers were snatched off of their mental, which makes you go physical. That's why the Messiah said, if a man think to lust on a woman, he's already committed to act with her in his mind. You can't see it, but you think he just licked his eyebrows for no reason when that woman walked by? Because he didn't say nothing. We know what he's thinking, don't we? Let's hold there, y'all. Just wanted y'all to get the understanding of Satan, a marvel of light, masquerade, and another cover gets in between you. And this is what is talking to the man and to the woman in the spirit. But let's finish up that 1 Corinthians 11 because we got another part in there, and I'm going to speed this up. We got about 45 minutes, y'all. Because we got to get some Hebrew, Zeb, give me them Hebrew words that I got down there. Brought it. Shalom, D. Shalom, D family.
Shalom, y'all family.
Let's get it, y'all. First Corinthians 11, y'all. We got to finish that up just down to that certain verse, y'all. And we're going to call it on that. We're going to move on. Yeah. You back at
Verse 17.
verse 17. We got down that far? No, we ain't got down that far. Because of the angels. Verse 10 we was at. So we want to deal with because of the angels.
Yeah, verse 10.
Y'all, so the angel situation started in the garden first. Then it moved to Genesis 6 after children were born, the watchers. After they saw what Satan them did and was cast out, they were supposed to watch the children of Israel. They were good angels. And they kept seeing the woman about the hair. What is it about the hair and the nails that causes a problem that excites angels? We're going to get to the script because we got people out here saying a woman can't braid her hair. She can't look nice. So what's she supposed to be, just cuckabug mom? I mean, just her kitchen always dirty? You got one guy out here talking about me and her ain't supposed to be long. If you can put a pick comb in it, it's too long. Where the hell are you reading that at? No, we're going to get to that, Elijah. We're going to get to that. See, this is what we're talking about when people don't read the law. They just read what Paul is mentioning, the specific about a law, and they don't go to the law. And it says, does nature, but he never explained how nature tells you, what in nature tells us that a man shouldn't have long hair? Anybody. No, don't get an answer. I'm just asking anybody. What in nature teaches us that a man shouldn't have long hair? What about nature that tells us that? What happens in nature if you have an afro? What happens if you have dreads like him? What happens in nature? What does nature do about that? What? Well, now, that ain't what I'm asking. I'm asking about long hair. We'll get to the bald head part.
On up, bald head.
Yeah, because Elijah was bald head. Elisha was bald head, and the children was mocking him. Go thou up, bald head. He sent some she-bears after them. Ungodly children. Mocking grown people. And a prophet. Let's read some more. Where we at? Elisha, you and none.
Verse 10.
Yeah.
For this cause ought the woman to have power on her head because of the angel.
Right.
Nevertheless, neither is the man without the woman, neither the woman without the man.
So,
in the Most High.
James Brown did a song. It's a man's word. But it ain't nothing without what?
A woman or a girl.
See, a lot of time artists will do a lot of good songs, but they got to do one for the devil to get the contract. Majority of them do good songs, but they have to do one for the devil. You owe me a contract song. Usually a lot of them be good. But it's that one song for the devil that they have to do for the contract. But that's the one that hit the top 20 Billboard charts.
You never remember them good songs, and you hear them, you think, man, I ain't never heard that. Well, I ain't never heard that. Because they're not playing that. Right. They want you to mock or imitate lawbreakers.
Yes, sir. Look, Teddy got a jam. Turn them off! You know what it is. But when you say the song is so good, when somebody loves you back. And he goes into that, they don't have nothing in there. What they're talking about, a man and a woman showing reciprocity. We're equally showing equal love to each other. It's good when that happens. But that didn't make the top 20. Turn them off. It's going to be another love TKO. I'm going to knock you out the box. Give me the top 20, AJ Light.
Shit, that's top 10.
What?
Top 20, that's top 10.
Where we at?
Verse 12.
Yeah.
For as the woman is of the man, even so is the man also by the woman. But all things of Yahweh.
See, you can't have a child unless it's by a woman. Same sex ain't gonna never have a child. They're not going to be able to put a uterus in a man and it produces a child. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen. So what they do, they make a woman give her hormone shots and she grow a beard and they cut her breasts off, but she still got a uterus. So when a man go into it, you think a man's pregnant. No, that's just a woman that grew a beard.
Just an ugly ass woman.
What is that? That's all it is, ain't it?
Oh no.
Say that.
So where we at? Go ahead. Go ahead, Liza.
Verse 13.
Yeah.
Judging yourself.
Who got questions?
Yeah. That woman that's over there in Ukraine.
What's going on?
That woman over in Ukraine that played basketball, she cut her breasts off.
Look, and she's over there. You know why? Russia don't play homosexuality. Yeah. She's a married WNBA. She's married to another woman. Russia don't play homosexuality. They put you to death. And you got, well, she had cannabis on, but same thing. That's all we need for you, man, woman. Boy, she did, didn't she? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Verse 14.
Yeah.
Number 13. Judging yourself. Is it comely that a woman pray unto Yahweh uncovered? Does not even nature itself teach you that if a man have long hair, it is a shame unto him?
Now, we just went from 13 to 14 and it switched lane. Is it comely? Does nature teach you itself that a man have long hair? I'm still asking the same question. What in nature tells a man not to have long hair? What in nature? Anybody. Because we represent the lion, don't it? The lion of the 4th tribe of Judah. Who got the long hair? The lion or the lioness? Who got the mane? So it can't mean that. What it means is we're talking about switching roles. A man should not wear that pertaining to a woman. If you got long flippy-de-doos in your hair and rollers in them and it's curled up like a woman,
Shirley Temple.
and you in an aisle and somebody holler, hey baby, and you try, oh wait a minute, shit. I mean, Romy Rome turn around with them curls in his hair, them flippy-de-doos. But y'all, all it means is if they switch roles. That's why it's constantly going through the woman is not the man. Who came first? So if they switch order, if they come first, because next it gets right into the Garden of Eden. The roles got switched. She taught Adam. And it caused the first sin in the world. That's what usurp authority means. It don't mean you can't teach. A woman can't teach. She's told she can teach these people. But in the congregation say, let her husband, if she got anything, ask him in home. But if she got no husband, what she do now? Who does she speak to at home? She got no husband. What do we do about her?
Christ is her
Who's
cover.
that cover?
Christ is her cover.
Let's read that, finish out to just down to 16, like.
Verse 14.
Yeah.
15.
Yeah.
But if a woman have long hair, it is a glory to her.
What is it?
A glory to her. For her hair is given her for a cover.
What a man at in this situation? Now what's her covering?
Her hair.
What's her covering?
Her hair.
Well, how did it switch from the man to her hair?
Because she has no husband.
See, y'all, because her glory is still there. What happens is if a woman cut off her glory to be like a man. See, she cutting off her glory because she wants to usurp authority. That's why every one of these women televangelists have box cuts. They want to look like, hey, this what happened when Miriam and Aaron. Miriam was a prophetess. But her and Aaron came out, Numbers 12:1, came out against Moses. He said, how dare y'all? First thing they said, I'm a prophetess too. Lord, speak to me. He said, but I made Moses like an intercessor to y'all. He's like the Messiah to y'all. How dare y'all attack him? What you think, because I let you be a prophetess, you equal to him? It ain't never been no way in these writings. As much as the Messiah talked about Martha and Mary, and they was right there at his side always before the men, but it wasn't 13 disciples. And none of them women sat at the Last Supper table. They came in after the other stuff because he had to keep order as well. So in like manner, Miriam had to suffer being turned into a leper for 7 days.
That's why she was punishing Aaron. The one other one.
Absolutely, bro. Why didn't Aaron get punished? But because she was usurping authority over both of them. The Lord said, no, I told you, I don't care about you being a prophetess. You don't raise up your head against the prophet because you're a prophetess. Baby, it's like Esther, what Esther do to Woodrow. That's what 1 Corinthians 11 said. If what Esther does to Woodrow, and she always got the Bible, he don't. He got a bottle of E&J. Erkinger, R&R. What's the name for that? Yeah.
Rough and Ready.
Yeah, rough and ready. But she got this, right?
Yeah.
Whole glory. And she cuts him out. Woodrow, put that bottle down before I'll screw your arm off and beat the hell out of you with it. And he just, and she grabbed him by his collar and lead him out the door. They got the Bible like this. Y'all understand this is what 1 Corinthians 11 is talking about. First. That's what we're talking about. Where we at, y'all? What time we got? We got a little bit more time. Okay. So we cool on that. We got some good understanding on how you got verse. You got to go down to
18.
18. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
16, right?
Right.
But if any man seem to be contentious, we have no such custom, neither the churches of Yahweh. Now in this that I declare unto you, I praise you not, that you come together not for the better, but for the worse. For first of all, when you come together in the church, I hear that there be divisions among you, and I partly believe.
See, so what he's saying is because we're not on the same page, because different doctrines come in, it causes these problems. But the ordinance was, let no man come in between a man and his wife. If the woman has no husband, then Christ is her husband. Her hair is given her for a covering then. Can she pray or prophesy without a covering? No. Because those are the rules for the assembly. It don't matter what man or what woman in the assembly. But can a single woman don't have a head covering on? Can a wife be at the store without a head covering on? Yes! It says only when they come to church, it puts everybody in the same order so we don't have split doctrine.
Everything done decently and in order.
Emo, I'll see you before you go, okay? Emo Ball. Emo Ball. Yes. I'll talk to you before you leave. Okay? I'll see you before you leave. Okay. Go ahead, y'all. Where we at? Right quick, so y'all, we on point. Deuteronomy 22 and 5. We're going to hit these one-liners. We're going to move on. What 22 and 5 say, y'all, because this wraps up 1 Corinthians 11. A man shall not wear that pertaineth to a woman. Look, the devil makes sure every store got girl, boy, man, woman, and then they have unisex. So when you say God don't matter no more in here, I could be either sex. They made a section for you, but they have not taken out man, woman, boy, girl. Have they license? No. You can still go to this day, can't you? And not only that, but they show you a difference. Usually women buttons are on the left side, or however it is, and men button on the right side. Men pants zip up different. Women jeans have hips in it. Men don't. You like, them ain't no horse riding pants, them jockey pants. You got on some woman britches. You got hip britches on. They design them that way because the body grows that way.
You got on some apple bottoms.
You got on some apple bottoms, yeah. What 22 and 5 say real quick? Deuteronomy 22:5.
Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 5.
What it say?
The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man. Neither shall a man put on a woman's garment. For all that do so are abomination unto the Lord thy God.
See, that's a felony. It's a felony sin. What happened in the garden was a felony sin. Adam put on his wife's character. He let her teach him. He was over her. He was commanded to teach her. Now understand that when it said now the punishment is he shall rule over you. So what was it before she let another rule over both of them? What was the rules before that? Were they equal? They were equal 50-50 because she has 50% of woman duties, he has 50% of man duties, but there still have to be 1% to go to him in a household. The max she can max out is 49. Right. If he dropped below 51%, you got roommates, you got 50-50. You have no rulership in the house. He can never drop below 51% of the household. Because no matter what happens, he's still going to get blamed for it. Somebody come to that house, kick the door in, and he's trembling under the covers. That's Ray now. Who going to get it when they find out they got hurt? Man, you just let somebody come in there, man, and do that to her. Man, you just let somebody come in there. And most women who dominate a man out, when another man say, that may be your husband, but you ain't going to talk to me like that. You better get your long head. Next, she say, give him that jar. Here's your testicles. Fight that man. That's what happened to Will Smith. Here's your testicles. Go up there.
They don't fit no more.
Yeah, you're right.
Right.
What you got?
You said that man and a woman, basically, they're equal in purpose, not equal in ability.
Right, because the law tells in Ephesians 5, it said, let the woman render to the husband due benevolence. There's a list for due benevolence for her to treat her husband. And then let the husband do it, and then it said, let him not hate her. What man hated his own flesh? Right. That's y'all wonder how you gonna hate her. It's one thing to be angry, but sin not. Right. I mean, you gonna get it on. You kiss my donkey. You kiss my donkey. But at the end of the day, y'all can't lay down like that and have to say donkey. What's a donkey? An ass. So, you know. But somebody flew right over here.
So you cover it up and then sit anyway.
See, they're prolonging things, y'all. I'm trying to get But so y'all, that's what happened. But you can be angry, but sin not. And don't let the day go down on your sin. Because if you go to bed, man, it's going to be a problem because the devil going to visit you in your dreams and say, I heard you ain't happy. And then he'll send a succubus to a woman in her sleep. And he'll look like, me, you, and me. What we going to do about this? And it's that angel masquerading as an angel of light. And when you wake up and she's smoking, what's going on? When you start smoking? Go back to sleep. Because I am in a few minutes. That's what will happen with the devil. When you go to bed, man, he's going to make it easier for you in your dream. That's called the third watch of the night. The fourth watch of the night. It's always going to be 3 o'clock in the morning. When the deed is done between 2 a.m. to 2:59. And when you wake up, you've been in that hour and sin has already taken place. And you're waking up thinking about it. What the hell was that about?
Right.
What you got, Tommy?
So how does those two people make it right once they've committed the fornication?
How do they make it right?
Yeah, so how does the man make it right after he made the mistake and see that she don't want Christ, she don't want his baby, nothing, you know?
Except for fornication, if your eye offends you, what you got to do?
Rub it out.
So y'all, he said, I call you to peace. If there cannot be peace, ain't no need you still there threatening her life and go to sleep and kill her in your sleep. You're going to be charged with murder in your consciousness with the Most High. Because that's what you're going to be thinking, because you're too scared to tell her to her face, so you cuss out in your sleep. Y'all finish reading that real quick, right? Pick it up right back in Jude 6th chapter. Get it down to the angels again. Then I'm going to Revelation 1, just 1 and 2, and then we're going to read about the angels at the churches, because the angels come visit the churches. This is why we have to be extra careful with what goes on in the assembly, because the angels are coming here unaware, and if they see you serving authority in here, it's reported back. No, they got a woman running that session down there.
Shabbat shalom, man.
Who we at?
Jude 6. Jude 6. Yep. Jude is only one verse. Yes, verse 6. It's on you.
We read down to 6?
Yeah, start with Jude 6, right?
Yeah, I want to just read down to Jude 6, because it's something very important to know, y'all. They keep bringing up these angels. Y'all, they're opening up the portals with their CERN machine. People are getting into witchcraft. Esotericism is taking off. Right. Everybody into this meditation and spiritualism. Y'all, those are bringing angels and demons in. Demons that masquerade as angels. Ain't nowhere in these scriptures that tell us we got some ancestors out in the stars. Those are demons. They're familiar spirits. Do they know your grandmama? Yeah, they know your grandmama, but your grandmama is asleep. There ain't nobody in these scriptures, even in paradise, they sleep. 1 Corinthians 6 and 9, they were put back to sleep. They asked, Lord, how long before you judge earth until your fellow brother be killed? And they were put back, what? To sleep, to rest a little season until your fellow servants are killed. Ain't nobody up there just walking around waiting for the kingdom. In Abraham's bosom, you resting comfortably. On the other side, there's torments, but it's not the lake of fire. It's preparing you for the lake of fire. I'm talking about the trouble you have in your life now is multiplied times 1,000.
So, when you're in the upper part, the upper chamber,
third level.
Yeah, Abraham's bosom.
Yeah.
Just chilling out.
Sleep.
Sleep. Oh, you sleep.
Sleep. Real quick, Revelation 6 and 9, real quick, y'all. Real quick, so we can get that. Y'all, then we'll move on. And then y'all read second Ezra 2:38. Read that and it will match up perfectly. Perfectly. Second Ezra chapter 2, verse 38 to the end. Give me that Revelation 6 and 9. What it say?
Revelation chapter 6, verse 9.
No, they're just quick.
We're going back to Jude. I'm just answering this question real quick about what the souls are doing.
Revelation chapter 6, verse 9.
Yeah.
And when he had opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of them that were slain for the word of the Most High.
Under what altar? Go ahead and John has a vision of the heavens, right? He went on earth visualizing this. He was seeing up in the heavens. Go ahead.
And for the testimony which they hid.
And for the what?
Testimony which they hid.
And
they cried with a loud voice, saying, How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth? And white robes were given unto every one of them.
What was given to them?
White robes. were given unto every one of them.
If you ain't seen no ancestors in no white robes, you talking to the devil.
Right.
If they ain't got on white robes and they glistening whiter than snow, because it ain't a substance or it ain't a bottle of Clorox on planet Earth can get nothing whiter than snow. You go buy a new 3-pack of drawers from Family Dollar and throw them down the next to snow, it'll look like they got pea stains on them. Brand new drawers. Ain't nothing whiter than snow. Snow will blind you when the sun hit it.
Yep.
It's so white.
You can't look at it. Got to put a veil over it.
Clean drawers is just good if you have an accident and going to the doctor.
There's a brother that's clicking us here.
Go ahead.
That's they going to the doctor. I'm sorry, that ain't good. Ain't nothing good about right.
Go ahead.
Verse
All
11.
white drawers may not be white. May not be so white.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. What does it say?
It says the white robes were given unto every one of them. And it was said unto them that they shall rest yet for a little season.
What shall they do?
Rest yet for a little season. Until their fellow servants also and their brethren that should be killed as they were should be fulfilled.
So these are underneath the altar in Abraham's book. Now again, he gonna read a little bit of that Zechariah chapter 2 verse. We said 38 where y'all need to read, but he just gonna hit verse 44. Go ahead, what verse 44 say like on down?
Second Ezra.
Chapter
2.
Yeah.
Verse 44.
What it say?
So I asked the angel,
Yes.
and said, Sir, what are these? He answered and said unto me, These be they that have put off the mortal clothing, and put on the immortal, and have confessed the name of Yahweh.
They have a testimony, just like we just read. Go ahead.
Now are they crowned and receive palms.
What did they receive?
Palms. Then said I unto the angel, What young person is it that crowneth them, and giveth them palms in their hands? So he answered and said unto me, It is the son of Yahweh.
Who is it?
The son of Yahweh, whom they have confessed in the word. Then began I greatly to commend them that stood so stiffly for the name of the Elohim. Then the angel said unto me, Go thy way, and tell my people what manner of things and how great wonders of the Elohim thy power hast thou seen.
So y'all, we see clearly, but when you get in 38, it's going to go into a little bit more. The white robes are there. Y'all, that's how we know when the saints come back, they in white clothing, ain't they? So in the garden, they had on white clothing. Wasn't nobody just walking around naked. That's what they're trying to introduce now. They're introducing a different kingdom of nakedness. You just walk around butt naked.
So they present your mind in a lustful manner, stays in a lustful state of mind. Law breaking is always at the front of your mind.
Because the law says you can't uncover no one's nakedness. So where we at now? That's the law before mankind came in. He was given the law. So how can you be naked and the law say don't uncover no nakedness? But nakedness means on the spiritual level to catch somebody fresh in this word and damage their mental. I don't care if they're 80 years old, they're a babe in this word and they're in their innocence and you snatch the drawers off.
Somebody got to pay for that.
Right? You strip them of their cover.
They were just grown children. They were born grown.
Being born again.
Born grown. Absolutely. Like, what you got on that deal? So what's time we got?
Just a quick question for people.
Go ahead.
When they say when the Most High made them skins, clothing, what does that mean spiritually?
Well, see, they were threw out of the garden then. So he had to make regular clothes then because in the kingdom, even though we have the right clothes, there ain't no sun or no moon there, but you still got on clothes. Because there's no temperature there. The temperature is set at pleasant. See, the sun and the moon weren't created till the fourth day.
But
You got light though the first 3 days though. So what's that light? And in Revelation 2 it says there's no need for the sun or the moon for who the light? Christ is the light. So what we're talking about is perfect temperature. You talking about paradise, that's perfect. You call all these places on earth paradise, but there ain't no place on earth truly paradise. Hawaii looks like paradise, but what you got to deal with? Volcanoes, don't you? Over here, you got to deal with this, you got to deal with hurricanes. Midwest, you come here, you got to deal with earthquakes. You got to deal with the heat, and you got to get 4 seasons in 1 week. California, you got heat, you got fires, and you got whatever. And you got the city of Los Angeles. And it's called Hollywood, where witchcraft, the wand was made out of the holly tree. So it's a city of magic and witchcraft. Everything goes. And fornication. Legalized.
But when he reclothed them in the skin spiritually, he put the laws back on them.
Yeah.
Remembrance of the law, statutes, and judgments, just like with the fringes. It's putting us back in remembrance of the law.
Absolutely. Had those were technically fringe clothing, so to speak, but they had to help them deal with the sun and the moon. Because remember when Adam got first cast out of the books of Adam and Eve, the heat hit him. He's like, what the hell is that? They say that's the heat from the sun. The sun ain't never felt that. Because remember, the world is Eden. He planted a garden eastward in Eden. So the whole world is Eden. But the garden was eastward. That was temperature control environment. It was a sin-free control environment. When you get kicked out of those kind of, you got to have clothes on. It's better to have a coat on and take it off and get too hot than to not have a coat on and it get too cold. Y'all, let's catch this up real quick. I'm going to get some one-liners. Let's get that Jude 6 real quick. Jude, well, I should say, it's only one chapter, just verse 6.
Jude, verse 6.
What it say?
And the angels which kept not their first estate.
What they do?
Kept not their first estate,
but
left their own habitation.
Right.
He has reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day.
See, held in chains until the judgment of the great day. So they in torments. That's what Enoch was seeing. They like, pray for us, Enoch. He like, y'all watching it. They're like, no, we done messed up bad, player. See what you can do for us. You know a little Johnny Cochran? They like, no, I don't know none of that. He ain't been thought of yet.
Who is that?
There's no appeal for you. Go ahead, what else say?
Verse 7.
Yeah.
Even as Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities about them in like manner, giving themselves over to fornication.
Giving themselves over to what?
Fornication.
See, so we got the angels and fornication again, y'all. Why are the two being connected, and why is it connected about a woman's hair? What's the correlation? What's the correlation? We finna find out what the correlation is real quick. We can hold that. Give me Revelation 1, Revelation 2, Revelation 4. We just gonna read the first verses of all of those because there's something very important about angels and those churches. Because Christ, look, before you read Revelation 2 and 9 and 3 and 9, you first have to acknowledge that to the Jew first. And then the Gentile, after we got run out, then they took over our synagogues. Or you're going to have a problem with reading Revelation 3 and 1 because he said, to my church. And they start off in 3 and 1 when they get down to 9. I know they say they are Jews, but they are not. Well, that's Christ's church. We got a problem going. Yeah. You got to figure out what he's saying here because you can't use 3 and 9 and verse 1 is staring you in the face for trouble unless you understand they occupy our synagogues now. Right. Now they do.
But in the time written, it was about Israel. Because Israel gave up the Messiah. Israel did all these things first and foremost.
Revelation 1 and 4, real quick, y'all. Go ahead.
The church is supposed to replace the true children of Israel.
The what?
The church.
Supposed to replace the true children of Israel? No, the true children of Israel are the church.
Right.
He said that's what they said.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're trying to replace it. Yeah, they're trying to replace that. What they're trying to do is throw you quickly and treat you because you see church, that means you're stuck in Christianity. Church is in the Old Testament. Look, so we ain't got no problem with what they're trying to do. They're called assemblies. Right. That's all the church is, an assembly of believers.
2 or more gathered in his name.
That's church.
Because then you have to talk about all the churches in the New Testament when Paul was talking about the churches in so-and-so and so-and-so house.
Yeah.
Or in this house. So it's an assembly of believers. It has nothing to do with an enemy.
Let's get it. Revelation 1 and 4. Y'all, we're going to read these ones and we're going to keep going.
1 and 4 or 1 through 4?
1 and 4. Well, you go 1 through 4, but we just trying to get caught up like, well, I got these 15 minutes. Go ahead.
Revelation chapter 1, verse 4. John, to the 7 churches which are in Asia, grace be unto you.
Grace be to what?
Unto you.
It can't be an Edomite church if they're saying it like that. It can't be a Gentile church. Grace and peace to you from the Lord. Let's read some more.
From him which is, and which was, and which is to come. And from the 7 spirits which are before his throne.
See, the 7 spirits which are before his throne. And as you continue to read, you'll see that that was the menorah. The 7 lamps of fire that been before it. But each one of these are a spirit. There's spirits in Isaiah 11:1 that was put on the Messiah. The spirit of wisdom, the spirit of knowledge. The spirit, when you have these 7 spirits, when you accept Christ and these 7 spirits, notice the Edomites have 9. But the 7 spirits right here teach you how to work, Galatians 5, the fruit of the spirit. Without these 7, you can't work the fruits of the spirit without getting these first, because these are what comes from heaven. To work the fruits of the spirit on earth. First you got to have a tree. And then the fruit off the tree is the fruit of what? The fruit of the Galatians 5. Spirit of the spirit. Fruits of the spirit. You go, Theo? Watch yourself out there, Theo. Put that smile now.
No church is chicken.
Right. Right. Get you some church chickens. So Leviticus 11, Deuteronomy 14. Go ahead. But you say we'll be chicken though until. Go ahead. Where we at? Verse, chapter 2. Did we finish 4? Okay, go ahead. Chapter 2 and 1.
Revelation chapter 2, verse 1.
What it say?
And to the angels of the church of Ephesus, write, these things saith he that holdeth the 7 stars in his right hand, who walketh in the midst of the 7 golden candlesticks.
He walking in the midst of the menorah. But that was in heaven because the image we got on earth was copied from heaven. That's why we have a menorah. 7 branch, not 9 branch. 9 branch go to the Edomites who took over and became Revelation 3 and 9. But we know they ain't Revelation 2 and 2 because they own all the money, don't they? Tribulation and anguish, pain, but thou were rich. We rich because we got the law, statutes, and judgment. We rich because every other nation know we got it and they make merchandise out of us. And when we're talking about this hair and nails, other nations set up in whose neighborhood? Are they selling any Rufus hair in there? Are they selling any Rufina hair in the hair shops? Can you go through there and say, I want some African American hair? All that hair comes from India. And India is loaded with Buddhism. You have to be careful, y'all, what we're dealing with.
You putting that on your scalp,
where your crown at?
Your communication to the Elohim, and you putting that, so now you have a different cover. You placing a whole different covering on your head.
That's why I was telling the women, if you got short hair, you can't have hair this long and tomorrow it's down to the crack of your rear end. Who's gonna believe it anyway? You be like, give me some of that miracle growth. Everybody be want it, but they don't sell Hebrew hair. I do some kitchen cutting on the side. All that hair I've been sweeping up, I tried to sell it to them. No, I didn't. I ain't gonna lie. But they don't want it. I'm really not looking. I'm like, well, I don't see no African, I don't see no Naphtali hair, no Zebulon hair up
Israel
there.
hair is considered bad hair. When in actuality it's the best hair.
Well,
because you can do so much with it.
Absolutely. And everybody want to touch your hair of the other nation. The problem is, y'all, they say it's hair that's under a curse. That's what they're saying. It's hair that's under a curse. We can't sell your hair to anybody. There's nobody wearing our hair unless they're mocking us. They got blackface on and Negro weeding on. But other than that, you just ain't seeing nobody going into the hair stores out in the county saying, I was just wondering, do you carry the Coke Brilliant and Goodfellow hair?
Well, I feel for anybody that's living on Coke Brilliant.
Look, and shops are there, and those are the glowing women, their nails and their hair. Y'all, it's a reason it's only in our neighborhood, just like the liquor store. All of it creates fornication. We put the liquor stores on there, and then we get you drinking, and then we get that woman looking good with her hair like that, and then we get them apple bottom jeans looking good, and then we have them nails long, so you picture them scratching the small of your back, from what I heard, you know, and then a gun shop is on the corner. So the gun shop is there so you can get a gun in case the pawn shop, you done spent everything and gave all your jewels away like Judah. So you don't have anything to pawn, because there's a pawn shop on every corner in our neighborhood too.
And it's a China, so you can get something to eat.
Something to eat. So look here. So now we got the whole situation tied up in Israel, but it's a gold mine to them because we're the biggest consumers on earth. We spend $90 billion a year and we don't own anything. That's a gold mine to the other nations.
How come sisters can put weave and other things to enhance themselves to look like women of other nations? But when we see women of other nations trying to look like us, it's down there a civil rights offense.
Look, because that's the confusion. That's because we don't understand the law about ourselves. Yo, we're going to speed on through this. Give me that forward one. Yeah, that's what we are, y'all. Look, this is why women had to be covered in the assembly when praying and prophesying, because we can have an angel in here, walk in here, don't nobody know where they come, because it's an open door policy. You know, you ask questions, but we have rules. That's why we got to make sure the assembly prays together. If they don't want to pray with us, you have to step out of here. If you pray with us, then we're casting Satan out of you. Because Satan can't do the work of the Lord. The prayer will eat him alive. He'll start choking and get out of here. We can see him choke out in Elisha.
Oh, yes, sir.
Once we say these are the rules, we agree to it. We made a vow. This is what's happening at this Passover. Don't go against our rules. He did it anyway. It was warned, wasn't it? Start throwing up the devil. Throwing up the devil. You know, the Holy Spirit was on me. I'm like, you be okay. Oh, I ain't never read what the Holy Spirit says. Thou shalt be vomiting white stuff and choking in front of other people. Thou shalt be looking for a cup of water to save thyself. That ain't in there.
He got up out of there immediately too.
No, it wasn't no happy the Lord did that for me. It was sitting over in the side in a corner, looking like, boy, I thought I was going to die.
That nigga was scared. Nigga, I was got that big.
Talk about, boy, most I was blessing, most I was about to choke you out for that.
Just giving you an example.
Real quick, y'all. Tim, y'all, we're going to just run through these really quick. 1 Tim 2, 9, and 10. Give me 1 Peter 3, 3 and 4. And this is about how a woman should be dressed in the assembly, because this is where it's going left field. Y'all, we have to understand, it ain't never said a woman couldn't have her. It said if you dress it up. Because Canaanite women, that comes from African culture, we have to be careful that they had all type of beads in their hair. They had different colors in their hair. They'll give me that broider for the Hebrew definition. Because they would, it's a form of usurping authority, because only the priests had on broidered wear. It gave them authority over the other 11 tribes. Just like Miriam, the prophetess, tried to usurp them, but they had on robes with broidered wear. Her clothes wasn't like that. And the broidered, when you look up broidered, it just don't mean braided. It means different colors. So we got to get careful about why we're dyeing our hair red, why you dyeing it green, why you dyeing it blue. Those are colors of embroidery. The hair you born with naturally should be the color you deal with. If you change the color, you're going to have to keep changing, because the root going to keep growing, ain't it? Or them chemicals going to get to you and they're going to set off a reaction, and then your face will lump up. People have problems with dyes. Not saying that you shouldn't, but you got to be careful with everything you do. You got to make sure. Where we at? Real quick, y'all. We're going to read about 10 more minutes, y'all. We'll be out. What broad it say?
H7553. It's variegated stuff, embroidered, embroidered cloth, embroidered work, embroidered, many colors.
Many what?
Many colors. Stones of various colors.
Stones of various colors. Go ahead.
Various colors.
See, so when we now read 1 Tim 2, and we're going to see what Paul was telling women. It didn't say that they couldn't have their hair braided. It just said when you dress it up like this, it will attract angels in the assembly, because you may have the combination of those type of things that draws those demonic spirits to a woman. All that was in the women's African culture. All of the beads and different things and the different forms of gold, that was to worship and mimic their God. And their gods were always demons, because they draw pictures of their God. They ain't got no human gods. Their gods are dogs, animals, birds.
Half human, half animal.
And not only that, shit, if we really talk about that, because when are we going to start putting plates in our lips? Women?
Or using dung in your hair.
Oh, boy, look here.
Or drinking
Boy, some doodle moisturizer.
Or slit the throat of a calf and drinking his blood while he's still breathing.
See, those were Canaanite doctrines. Leviticus 11 told us to stay away from that. It never said, Paul was telling, look, y'all got the customs of the people. I ain't telling y'all can't braid y'all hair. And then we just gonna run through these real quick, y'all. Real quick. What it say?
Too.
What else it say?
Verse 10.
Checker.
Yeah, checker.
So multicolored, switching colors, these type of things excite the supernatural.
Also, you must understand in the book of Enoch, he talks about these fallen angels that taught the women how to adorn themselves.
Yeah, they did.
And fix up their hair.
Yeah.
To drive the angels mad. To bring them to lust.
Bring them to lust over their husbands. Look, let a woman leave the hairdresser. She will sleep like this. No pillow, and you better not run your what? You can't touch that till the event is over. You better not touch that. Ain't gonna be no cooking as cold cuts with fresh fingernails done. What you mean? You making some cornbread? Not with these nails just got done.
Yeah, but those fallen angels taught them how to make makeup, adorn their eyes, put them eyelashes, them long fake eyelashes on,
What's your wife?
adorn their hair and everything.
Real quick, y'all, 2:10, y'all, we're gonna hit these and we'll give you a little homework. 1 Tim 2, 9, and 10. 1 Peter 3, 3 and 4. And y'all, and then I wanna just clear up what bruh, we're gonna hear that where it said men shouldn't have long hair. We're gonna hit them too. So we knocked that out the box of them saying it's a shame for a man to have long hair. It's a shame if a man has hair like his woman. Shit, they be fighting over the mirror. Have to get back. It's my turn.
They used all the rollers.
Yeah, what'd you do with them rollers?
Pretty Tony.
Pretty Tony. Look, that's why pimps' hair look better than their whores. They have to look that good. That's what gets the confidence of a woman. You can't have nobody walking in there like they've been baptized in lemon juice. You know, that look on their face, come out a pimp, an ugly pimp. See what I mean? Pimp's a pretty boy. And look, pimp fingernails are always long like that too, and they hair. This is what 1 Corinthians 11 is telling you. Their hair and their nails are just like the woman. They switch roles. He's pimping. He don't want her. You know what pimping means? P-I-M-P, put it in my pocket. All the money you just got. He don't have sex with them. He sexed their mind like Satan did. Eve. He seduced their mind. He don't want you. Girl, that's my money. I ain't gonna be all up in my money. You don't buy your bread where you get your meat. I mean, you don't make your bread where you get your meat. That's what I should say. You know the term. That means you don't have no work affairs. Gonna cost you your job and your woman. Where we at?
1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 9.
What it say?
And like manner also, that women adorn themselves in modest apparel.
And what kind of apparel?
Modest apparel.
It ain't a scripture in here that tells you what to wear. It tells you women who wore certain clothes, But I'm looking for the list to tell you what modest is. Modest means a comfortable clothing, nice looking, that don't attract anybody to bring to your husband. If you go somewhere with them pants on, with them poles on the side all the way up to the hip, a man can look at that and say, she ain't got no drawers on. And then you let her go out like that, you got a pistol in your pocket. For what? Why you bring a pistol? You know what a man gonna say. Man, is that for sale? Nigga, I wish you would open your mouth again. Open your mouth. Keep my woman hips out of your mind.
But the brother that said something, no, you ain't gonna do nothing. So you allow her to come out.
Look, and now while you in the holdover cell, she's still at the club with no drawers on.
Right.
With him. With him. But look, y'all, modest apparel means it won't get your husband killed. You know what you can put on. If you got some jeans on so tight, he had to cut them with a razor to get them out. I told you about wearing these. Where my blade at? And you got to cut them off of her? That's a problem.
Ain't no jeans.
They make clothing like that. They make clothing. Wear the t-shirt lower than the cakes. Because they still women pants, ain't they? The problem be why men got them on now. Modest apparel, what we're talking about is if the report won't get back to my husband that I had the attire of a harlot. Men gonna holler at you anyway, but you can't give them the advantage. Because ain't no list of modest apparel in the Bible nowhere. No instruction, man. That's just like people tell you, man can only wear pants, women can't. Ain't nowhere in the scripture, man, it told a man he could only wear pants. Those were drawers. Ezekiel 44, Exodus 28, those were drawers for the priests. Because linen, you don't sweat in linen. That's why linen is put up. You can't wear linen after what? September? Shouldn't be too much sweating after September, should it? Should it? Let's get it. Where we at? You finished that? Verse 10, did you get?
No.
Go ahead.
In like manner also, that women adorn themselves in modest apparel, with shamefacedness and sobriety, not with broidered hair, or gold, or pearls, or costly array, but which becometh women professing godliness with good works.
So that's what it tells you modest apparel is. It shows godliness with good works. Now, what do you put on? Where that store at? Where's that aisle at? So it's on the woman to understand I wouldn't put on that will put my husband's life in jeopardy unless I'm trying to put his life in jeopardy. Huh? Or tempting up to make him jealous. Sirach 9th chapter, don't let your wife teach you a lesson of jealousy. Negro, I go out to the club and let somebody else appreciate this. You don't. Go on out there. I'll be here when you get back. Come on, y'all, let's get caught up. Where we at? You finished that 10?
Yeah, I finished it.
1 Peter 3 and 4. Y'all, we're going to run through these last two. Y'all, we're going to get on out. Where we at? 1 Peter 3. Three and 4. Yeah. 1 Peter 3 and 4. Y'all can get it. We're going to one line this on out.
1 Peter, chapter 3, verse 4. You said 3 and 3?
Yeah.
Verse 3.
Okay.
While they behold your trust conversation coupled with fear.
What they beholding?
Your trust conversation.
That's like pure conversation. See, now you got women, mothers, and daughters calling each other female dog. Bitch, you look good in that today. Well, I say female dog. Boy, you ain't say it. I mean, now they're labeling each other as that.
Right, that's a badge of honor.
See, that's not Chad's conversation. Oxmanu sent me a video that where they have the bad female dog competition now. That's where they labeling themselves. I'm a bad dog. I'm a bad female dog. It's out there now. Because these are the days of Sodom and Gomorrah. And the angels are being let loose. Portals are being opened. Go ahead. What else to say like that?
Whose adorning, let it not be that outward adorning of plaiting of the hair, and of wearing of gold, or of putting on of apparel. But let it be the hidden man of the heart, in that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of Yahweh a great price.
See, and it lists Sarah as the go-to person, or I should say, or the example to pattern yourself out. But when Abraham sent Eliezer to go get Rebekah, what did Eliezer have with him? Did he have gold? Did he have fancy clothing? Did he have? But the conversation was, you got a husband, and he's able to take care of you like this. And it wasn't about them clothes like that, a different thing. He just showed the family that I can provide for your daughter. And he gave him gold bracelets. But you got this boy on the net talking about women ain't supposed to wear no jewelry at all. No jewelry. Nothing, no gold, no earrings, no nothing. Where are you getting the writings at? So y'all should be just sitting in church, mouth zip tape with some duct tape, head not combed, kitchen dirty, sink, I'm talking about cup of sitting all around your earlobes. Ain't had no moisturizer or nothing. Just dry and falling off with a dish rag tied around. And see, some people think that's what we teach. No, a woman's hair is her glory. You're supposed to take care of your hair. You're supposed to go and get your hair taken care of. We're just saying don't do it that could cause angels to come and seduce you. If that comes in your mental, and somebody tell you, girl, he said the other day, the way your hair was looking the other day, it turned him on. It's turning on somebody else too, if it's not modest. Yeah, it's a hood. You like my hair? Yeah, I like that. Look good. He likes that hair like that. That's modest apparel. But if he frowning, where you going? With them girls again? I see you got your hair fixed again with the light bill money. You damn right I did. You know, lights where I'm going. Look.
You say ain't no light where you going.
Look here. So, this is what we talk about. Either it's a problem with what we're understanding, or we just don't understand. It's just saying if she dress it up to attract anybody but her husband, it's a problem. But you have to look at the African women customs of what they did. All of these, that was to their gods. You got to make sure you don't mimic what they did because it attracted gods to them. Because they believed in gods like that, universe gods and different things like this, the gods, statue gods and stuff. And they would dress themselves just like their gods.
And they're going back to that. You see a lot of black women that are really going after this esoteric religion, into that ocean religion, where they have a god for every emotion, just like the Hindus. A lot of our community is veering toward the ancient doctrine of Egyptology and Kemet and Babylon.
Another couple.
They're going to that other covering at a mass rate.
I'm getting my demon.
We're going to end this.
They're wearing the ox. I mean, they're going head over heels with it. I mean, in this ocean, you'll start hearing a lot of ocean.
Okay.
OSHUN.
Okay.
But a lot of our black youth or young individuals, like age between 20 and 50 or really getting into that religion. And it's an African pagan religion that has over 100 deities. They have a deity for every emotion, every aspect of your life.
It's not them 7 spirits.
No, but these are straight demons because they talk about them, and the way they talk about these, I'm like, man, those are demons y'all playing with. But they think they're gods. They worship them. They fashion themselves after them. They put on clothing and jewelry in imitation or to worship the energy of these pagan deities.
That's right. Y'all, we're not telling women you can't go get your hair done, you can't go get your nails done. You just have to be careful that you don't get it done to attract angels that masquerade as angels of light. You have to do that study. You have to make sure, why is the new culture of fingernails this long? It means uncleanliness. I don't know how you gonna wipe your rear end unless you got a wiper. Wipe us! I mean, how you gonna wipe with this? Huh? I mean, you gonna bust through the toilet paper, ain't you?
Unless they're using some more spray clean.
Huh?
They had that girl off of SWV on TV, and her nails were so long they were curling up.
Yeah.
I said, ooh, I bet you she's smelling like a little something.
Boy, look there. Somebody got to wipe.
Everything I said.
Barry White's wife had them nails like that. That was back in the 70s.
But that.
She had, and they were natural because they would curl up and did all kind of.
Yo, all we talking about is anything take you from the cleanliness of the Lord. You have to be responsible for you, especially if you're married, for your husband. You got to make sure if I get my nails done, it's on the level of modesty. Not saying you can't get them done. If I have a makeup, it can't be the rest in peace look. You can't have it like you sleep like this. I'm talking about makeup this thick on your face.
Yeah.
You can't have it.
Right.
You can do enhancement, that thing beautify your enhancement, but the rest in peace look, that's too much makeup. Look, you gotta wash the pillowcases every night.
That's the alter ego. That's the icing on the cake.
Go ahead, brother.
We gotta add that what's already the best. Some heathens love they call it. When something's already the best, how you gonna add something to it?
Yeah, but we talk about everybody get older. So you try to just make your appearance look a little bit better, but you can't go overboard. That's all we talking about, overboard, because when you take it all off, you got to face the stark reality. If you just wipe it off or whatever you're going to do, me in the same way. Look, I mean, you can wear a buff shirt. They make shirts that make you look like you've been working out. But when you pull it off and then, look, and your stomach go back, you know, you got a problem. That may put you in a position, you look in the mirror now, you got a booty do. But your stomach stick out farther than your booty do. Come on, y'all, let's finish these last scripts. Where we at? Real quick, y'all, now we finished at 3 and 4, right? Number 6 chapter, and this for the long hair, y'all, we got 2. After that, then we're going to close out with Isaiah 30, y'all. We'll be out of here right at that hour. Go ahead. Number 6 chapter. And this is once again, if they're saying a man shouldn't have long hair, they don't go through the law. And then, see, what we're looking for, they say, except you do the law of what we just finished reading. They have to say that, or it's a blanket statement and make everybody think they got to cut their afro off. Truly, it'd be problems. Some of these saying you can't have no hair like that. You can't have a fro. Ariel, you got to give it up. Only one in here, me, Ed, Jeremiah, Thomas, Elisha, all the rest of y'all, Zed with us. No, 2 by yeah. All the rest of y'all heard too long. No, but it ain't y'all. What you got, Thomas?
I tell you, I met this dude on a construction site, and I told him we was down here, and he looked at my face and then looked at my head. He said, "Why do you cut your beard or cut your hair?" I said, "You're not a Nazarite, Hebrew. You can take upon yourself the ways of a Nazarite, but you're not a Nazarite." And he talking about, you ain't supposed to mar your beard or cut nothing.
You know what I'm saying? We got that word mar here. But we understand, but look, the problem is the law. They don't understand the law. You got to take them to the law and make them read it. Just read this. Don't discuss with them. Just show it to them and say, please read that and give me your understanding. What understanding do you receive from it? Number 6 and 1, y'all, real quick. Yeah, give me more. No, we're going to get down to it on the Leviticus 19. Go ahead. Number 6 and 1. Anybody? Go ahead, Ariel. Number 6 and 1.
The book of Numbers, chapter 6, verse 1.
No, boy, look. This gonna help you keep your hair. This ain't to cut that off. No, this gonna be beneficial for you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel.
Speak unto who?
The children of Israel. And say unto them, when either man or woman
man or who?
Or woman shall separate themselves to vow a vow of a Nazarite, to separate themselves unto the Most High.
See, this is the problem already for most of them knuckleheads, because they said a woman can take the vow of a Nazarite. That's the law, ain't it?
Yep.
Let's read some more.
Verse 3.
Yeah.
He shall separate himself from wine and strong drink, and shall drink no vinegar of wine, or vinegar of strong drink. Neither shall he drink any liquor of grapes, nor eat moist grapes or dry.
See, so now you got individuals walking around here saying that all you can do is eat grapes. But hell, if you take a vow of Nazarite, you can't even eat them. So you ain't got nothing else to eat but air. But this is if you take a vow of the Nazarite. Go ahead, verse 4.
Verse 4.
Yeah.
All the days of his separation shall he eat nothing that is made of the vine tree, from the kernels even to the husk.
No corn either. Go ahead.
All the days of the vow of his separation, there shall no razor come upon his head, until the days be fulfilled, in the which he separated himself unto the Most High. He shall be holy, and shall let the locks of the hair of his head grow.
So we're talking about locks. When you look up locks, and you say dreadlocks are a tuft, T-U-F-T, of hair. That ain't this small. So whoever's saying if you can put a pick in your hair is too long, man, he's giving false doctrine. For one, he ain't even covered and said, unless he's a Nazarite. Then we know you're covering the law completely concerning hair. But if you just run in 1 Corinthians 11, Christ wrote number 6 too. He performed number 6 because he went into Nazarite mode after the Passover. He said, I ain't going to drink what with you no more.
Until I drink it with you in the kingdom.
So when we see him, his hair going to be long. Y'all read the rest of that, but just skip down to verse 13.
Verse 13.
Yeah.
And this is the law of the Nazarite.
What is this?
The law of the Nazarite. When the days of his separation are fulfilled, he shall be brought unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation.
So we made vows like that. A Nazarite, separate yourself. Don't do none of this. This the law when you read from 1 to up to the point we read. Dead bodies, you couldn't go to no funeral. You couldn't do none of that stuff. But this is the other part of dealing with hair on your head. The law of the Nazarite. If you don't hear about that, then they're not being truthful in what they're telling you about 1 Corinthians 11. Meaning, that means you cannot do a law of the Nazarite. Can you? Samson, what made Samson get his hair cut? Disobedience. He drank wine. He went around dead bodies. It was just the final straw. Samson broke every one of these laws. Not only that, he was supposed to be separated, so he had to purify himself from a woman. Get her to me for wife. What you got, bro?
So no color while wearing braids, right?
What we're talking about is go look at women, ancient African culture, deity cultures, hair deity culture. That's what I'm asking. When you look at that hairstyle to a deity, don't do it like that. Because we got a problem with royalty, and we're gonna finish up with Ezekiel 16 when the Most High married us, and we're gonna see what He dressed us in, and see if it matches modest apparel. We don't care what these Negroes talk about and what they consider modest apparel because it's up here. I don't care what a woman got on. She can have a double moo-moo and sandals. And have a shower cap on her head. To a lustful man, to him, he looking like she fine as hell. Yeah. That's how big the dress is. But you can't say that to a woman. If she say, does this dress make me look fat? You're like, no, but that's a fat ass dress. You know, but she's very where we at? Leviticus 19:27, real quick. No, I'll tell you what, give me 2 Samuel 14:26. That's all we want. This is David's son, and we're going to see if there's any law about him having long hair and what the law brought in at all about this. And he did this year after year. Give me 2 Samuel 14:26, real quick, y'all. Leviticus 19, y'all, and then we're going to close out. And I'll give you the homework on the priests that couldn't cut their hair. It was the priests, Leviticus 21 all. Y'all write this down for Aaron, not Moses, for the high priest, Aaron. The whole 21st chapter of Leviticus, because it tell you they can't marry outside the race. They cannot. And you back that up with Ezekiel 44 because the same Levitical law go for Zadok, who's now a Melchizedek priest after Christ, because Ezekiel 44 is coming into our land again, and it matches up. Ezekiel 44:17 on down going to match up perfectly with Leviticus 21 all. They're going to go hand in hand, both in order of Aaron and when the order gets switched to Melchizedek. They're going to mirror each other. So y'all do that as homework. But go ahead, give me that 2 Samuel 14, y'all, real quick. We'll close out.
Go ahead, Doc. Go ahead. The book of 2 Samuel, chapter 14, verse 26. And when he polled his head.
And when he did what?
Polled his head.
Y'all know what poll mean? That's to cut it off. Let's cut your hair short. Cut it off. Not bald, but just cut it down to where you still can see a few follicles. Go ahead, what it say?
For it was at every year's end that he polled it, because the hair was heavy on it. Therefore he polled it. He weighed the hair of his head at 200 shekels after the king's weight.
Do 200 shekels of the king's weight. Y'all Google that with your smartphone, and you'll see how much hair he had on his head. And not once do it say the king's son broke the law about having a fro that big. It cost him with a fro that big, but he was doing evil. He had tried to take over David's kingdom. He was riding his horse and rode through a bramble bush. His fro got caught in it. Some say, see that? If he hadn't had that fro, he wouldn't have got caught. So what about him doing what he did, went into his father's concubines? That don't count. It just counts for the hair, huh? He was running for that crime. Wasn't a crime of his hair, but y'all do 200 shekels of the king's weight, and you'll see how big Absalom's fro was. So we got Numbers and 2 Samuel, and it ain't talking about he cut his hair once a year. Once a year. Now, we cut our hair once a year. What's going to happen? Boy, look there. No, I'm talking about what your hair going to look like. Yeah, right. Yeah. Boy, you just have a decked out Larry Stooges.
Big old Larry Stooges.
We finished that, right?
Yeah.
Give me Leviticus 19:27. Y'all just won. We're going to finish out Ezekiel 16. I just want to read that real quick. This is Leviticus 19:27. This is about the burial. And Zeb, give me more so we can understand that, y'all. We'll close out. We got to get on out of here.
All right. Page 54:20.
More. Do not mar the corners of your beard or your head. Go ahead.
To tear down or break down. To make it impassable. To have broken down the path.
See, so what happens is more meaning others say to completely destroy. If you destroy the hair follicles where your hair can't grow back naturally, if you get the George Jefferson or the Larry Stooges, you didn't do that. You didn't do it. But if you mar the corners of your head, it's going to kilo it over. And that's what Africans used to do with a razor because they wanted to look like the gods they served. They would mar the corner, it would kilo it over, and no hair could grow back there. You can't mar your head. You can't mar the corners of the beard. Now read Leviticus 19:27. See if we get some understanding after we understand what the word mar means, to completely destroy.
Leviticus chapter 20 verse
19 to 27.
Leviticus 19:27.
Leviticus chapter 19 verse 27.
And we just go ahead.
Ye shall not round the corners of your head. Neither shall thou mar the corners of thy beard.
See, now this is a problem for anybody that say we should just have low hair. And the pastor that was teaching this had a bald fade. See, he because he don't read law. He just read the statutes and testimony or the ordinances, but he don't know what law it came from to cover every aspect. Right now, this law is saying, if he's looking at it, you can't have a bald fade if you look at it from that perspective. If he don't explain, I got a bald fade, but it's not marred. 2 weeks go by, all this will be back. That's what has to happen. But what he's doing is just saying, my hairstyle is the hairstyle that every man in this church should be wearing. That ain't the truth. What else it says there? Okay, that's it. So mar the corner, y'all read that. Nor put marks upon your body, especially for the dead.
Yeah, you should not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am the Most High.
So no marks or prints for the dead. See, our covenant, the only mark we got on us, men, is circumcision, and that's for the living. Because it's for procreation. That's why that covenant is hid in your shorts. And ain't nobody in here know who's circumcised, and you better not be asked. I mean, what are you gonna do? Show it to you?
I'm going to be around for
So y'all just write these two down. Write these two down. Right. Acts 18 and 18. Acts 21 and 24. And that's where Paul and them made a vow. They cut their hair to keep a certain vow that they weren't going to do a certain thing until righteousness came for some reason. They pulled their hair. They cut it off as a vow. It was actually opposite of the Nazarite vow. So it could go either way when a vow is concerned. Y'all, we're going to do this thing, but we're going to cut, all of us going to cut our hair off that we know we in the vow together.
You said Acts 18.
Acts 18:18 and Acts 21:24. And y'all, we just gonna finish off with this Ezekiel 16. We're not gonna read it all. We're just gonna get right to the point of marriage. Go ahead, bro. Ezekiel 16, real quick.
What was the name of the class? What was the name of the class?
The name of this class is Covering because of the Angels. Elisha just finished up his class from last week at the beginning. We got that, y'all? Where we at? Ezekiel 16, y'all. We'll get right to the point and where it says the Most High when He married us. Verse 1 through 10 tell us where He took us from.
10
I want 10. No, I want 8. Just read 8 down to 14. Y'all will close out. Now this is the Lord marrying Israel. And when somebody tell you women, you can't wear no jewels, we're looked at as His bride.
The reason why we like gold chains and fine things.
Everywhere we look, it say, and He put a gold chain about His neck. Look, the prodigal son, what did he fast? When did he get a gold chain put on his neck? Saddle on the fresh animal. Fresh gold. Went shopping for the boy. Real quick, y'all, Ezekiel, get that man gonna close on out.
Ezekiel chapter 16, verse 8.
What it say?
Now when I passed by thee and looked upon thee, behold, thy time was the time of love. And I spread my skirt over thee.
What did you?
Spread his skirt over thee.
But it was the time of love.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And cover thy nakedness.
What did he cover?
Thy nakedness.
Yeah,
I swear unto thee, and entered into a covenant with thee, saith the Most High Elohim, and thou becamest mine.
See, if you're not careful about verse 1, it said your father was an Amorite and your mother was a Moabite. That's the land first. That's a land prophecy. He's telling us where He married us at. He married us we get a clear understanding of what he's telling us. Go ahead, read some more.
And he also, if you see, he's given the order of marriage.
Yeah.
The time of love, the courtship, and all.
See, he's telling us where he found us in Canaanite land, but he washed us clean of their doctrine. In their land, he washed us clean. Y'all got to separate from that. I know y'all born in it, and it had nothing to do with me. I told y'all gonna take that land. He said, now let's clean you up. I'm gonna marry y'all. Go ahead. He didn't marry no Canaanites. Go ahead. What's that?
Then washed I thee with water. Yeah, I thoroughly washed away thy blood from thee, and I anointed thee with oil. I clothed thee also with broidered work.
What kind of broidered work?
Broidered work.
See, we just was told not to, you can't wear your hair braided. This is broidered work, but when you truly understand what broidered work is, if a woman is to fashion her hair to match the high priest's garments, then she's looking to usurp authority because her hair is not telling her, I have the broidered work, I'm in position to take power. Many different colors, golds and pearls, and I'm not just sitting there. That's why the first lady had a hat so big, had a whole fruit section on that hat. Go ahead.
And little children.
Yeah.
And shod thee with the badger skin.
What did shod us with?
Badger skin.
There was the Timberlands of the day. Badger skin. That's of the Weasel family. But they wore it proof. And they wore it forever. Let's read some more.
And I girded thee about with fine linen. And I covered thee with silk. I decked thee also with ornaments.
I would deck us out. Ain't that the term easy? Man, I would deck out. Go ahead. What does it say?
And I put bracelets upon thy hand. And a chain on thy neck.
What does he do?
A chain on thy neck. And I put a jewel on thy forehead, and earrings in thy ears, and a beautiful crown upon thine head. Thus was thou decked with gold and silver, and thy raiment was of fine linen and silk, and broidered work. Thou didst eat fine flour, and honey, and oil, and thou was exceeding beautiful, and thou didst prosper into a kingdom.
What did we prosper into?
A kingdom. And thy renown went forth among the heathen for thy beauty, for it was perfect through my comeliness, which I have put upon thee, saith the Most High.
And verse 15 on down is trouble. But we took that beauty and ran with it too far. We start saying, look, I'm tired of that same old jewelry. I'm tired of them earrings. I want me some hoop earrings this big as a spare tire, hanging off of here. I want plates in my lip like them Canaanites. So when y'all read verse 15 on down, you can see what got us cast out of Jerusalem because we started looking just like them Canaanites. And their women are seduced by their gods. It's part of their process. All we telling you women is when you braid your hair, whatever you do with your hair, however you beautify your hair, make sure it does not attract the gods of the Canaanites. That's y'all work. So y'all hold there, y'all read 2 Kings 9 and 20. And that's when Jezebel heard of Jehu was coming to town. The first thing he did is she painted up her face and put on her whole clothes. And Jehu said, I ain't here for no date. I'm here to put you to death. Y'all read that 2 Kings 9 and 20. And Jezebel had a husband, Ahab, was the weakest man on planet Earth. And he was a king in Israel. That's 1 Corinthians 11. He switched place with Jezebel and her prophets. He had prophets, he was the king. But he let her and her Baal prophets get the land he wanted. He switched roles. Nature teaches you what's going to happen when that happens. The script said, Zechariah 25:10, if a woman sustains a man, his life will be full of grief. She gonna be angry all the time. You can't buy your own drum.
It's a problem every day, every second.
You should be able to buy your own drawers. Man.
That's right.
It's one thing you say, if you're at the store, give me a couple pair of drawers on down to emergencies. I mean, the last is about shot. Legs are stretched open, a little bit too far. Then emergency. You only use them to cut right. And with a tuxedo on. Let's roll that, Chuck. Any questions about it?
Everybody say an excellent class.
What's that, brother?
They say an excellent class.
Proverbs 7, y'all too, y'all understand that. Proverbs 7. Y'all get that homework in, go read that Leviticus 21, Ezekiel 24, don't get this reading of this stuff.
Hey, Dan.
Yeah.
We need to cut the grass in your drawing.
I say to use the cutting grass when you do that. Look, you got all old Jesus being trying to know. Look, Johnson trying to get that one in the end. Now look here. No, I get it. And he turned out wickedness. He turned out like a Cub Scout leader.
All right, family. We're going to get this closing prayer. And it's with the Most High's permission. And in the name of His only begotten beloved Son, our Lord and Savior, and our uncrowned King, Yahushua HaMashiach. And we know him as Jesus the Christ, family. Long live the day. Long live the day. Reading the book of Psalms, in the 63rd chapter, it reads, O Yah, thou art my Elohim. Early will I seek thee. My soul thirsteth for thee. My flesh longeth for thee in a dry and thirsty land where no water is. To see thy power and thy glory, so as I have seen thee in the sanctuary. Because thy loving kindness is better than life, my lips shall praise thee. Thus will I bless thee while I live. I will lift up my hands in thy name. My soul shall be satisfied as with marrow and fatness, and my mouth shall praise thee with joyful lips. When I remember thee upon my bed and meditate on thee in the night watch, because thou hast been my help. Therefore, in the shadow of thy wings will I rejoice. My soul followeth hard after thee. Thy right hand upholdeth me. But those that seek my soul to destroy it shall go into the lower parts of the earth. They shall fall by the sword. They shall be a portion for foxes. But the king shall rejoice in Yah. Everyone that sweareth by him shall glory. But the mouth of them that speak lies shall be stopped.
We greatly appreciate it. Shout out to all y'all that continue to support the ministry. Y'all got any questions y'all need to ask? Y'all reach out to Warrior 298.